I don't even care what the thumbnail looking like. Hello. I'm back. Basically for the general part of the video, right? So the first part of this, not that it's necessarily a two-part whatever, but we can make it a two-part whatever. Excuse me. The first part was a lot about me just talking about me and some that I guess. Um, Now I have the rest of my decks to go through. Did the Kawaii Tarot. This is my new deck, right? My newest deck. So I pulled some cards from here. And then I did my most used deck. And I pulled some cards from here. There you go. Now you can see. Next, I have my least used deck. I think that was also my favorite. Am I using my favorite? See, I don't even remember what I be doing. But yeah, I guess now I'll be using my least used deck and just pulling cards, talking about myself. Oh my gosh. I think I was showing the wrong side. There you go. Even though this deck is gorgeous. I think another reason why I don't really use it too much, even though I love this deck, is because I haven't studied it too much. And when it comes to the backside of these cards, I don't necessarily like reading the book. So I just like avoid it. Which isn't great, but hey, it is what it is. And I do still have the title card in this deck as a like, who knows what's supposed to happen? Live your life. The title card is the live your life card. The title card is you're not supposed to know. The title card is you already know. And the title card actually came out for May when I pulled a card for every month for myself. And so May is going to be an interesting month, I'm assuming. Okay, and those are the cards I will be looking at. Man, some of these fall on the floor. Of course they fell on the floor. Why wouldn't they fall on the floor? What is this? The Five of Pentacles in reverse. Excuse me. So making a departure in from out in the cold. Perhaps, perchance. Excuse me, mister, but would you perchance happen to have... I want a weighted blanket. I was going to say, would you perchance happen to have a weighted blanket? I haven't been... Ooh, girl, I haven't been touched in so very long. All I want is a hug. All I want is some cuddles. Why is this on the... Oh my gosh. I am... Hey, Miyoshi. I'm looking for all of these cards that fell, but it might have only been one. This is how to be a heartbreaker. I don't know why that song just popped into my head. Was it like a little danger? See me falling for a stranger, singing I love you. I don't even know that song. I heard it because of one of my friends. There we go. Because one of my friends, he was like, "Oh my gosh, you should listen to this song. I love it." And then like the music video started playing, and he was like, "Okay, well you can watch the rest of this at home," because he was on the clock at work, and there were some scantily clad lads. But I think, and it's interesting. I'm gonna check and see what degree Mercury is in. I think I'm only missing these two. Well, I might visit this card or this deck last because it seems I'm going to be doing piles to make sure I have all my cards. I did not. Can you send them on Discord, please? Because that would be very helpful. I couldn't even remember. And then I was like, that's a 4-hour video. I don't even know where to go looking. But yeah, I'm going to check where Mercury is really quick. This is how to be a heartbreak. The end. Okay, I can go back. How to be a heartbreaker. She's an Aquarius rising. That makes sense. I remembered her chart all wrong. This is how to be a heartbreaker. Mercury is still 28 degrees in freaking Aquarius. This is why I feel like Mercury retrograde ain't even over yet. It ain't even moved to the 29th degree. Hello? But it is conjuncting the Pars Fortuna right now. So that was a weak tongue pop, y'all. I'm so sorry. That tongue pop was just as bad. So yeah. I was just about to say, like, does it feel like Mercury retrograde is like still going on for anybody else, or is that just me? Because like my tech lately has been more messed up than what it was. Well, yeah, but like Mercury is stationed direct right now. So it's about to start moving, even though we're still in the post shadow period, but it's still in the same degree that it was in when it went direct. So it hasn't even moved a single degree yet. And it's been a few days. Like Mercury ain't that slow, is it? I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I feel like we ain't even started the post shadow period yet because it's still in the same degree. It ain't even 29 yet. It's still 28. It is 59 minutes. So it's about to be 29 real soon. Hey, Clorinda. Hello. And I'm like, really? But yeah, my tech has been messing up more than when it was actually retrograde. Also, one of my old friends who I used to have a crush on, he's a Taurus and he's cute. And he got the cuddles and he's nice. But he reached out to me yesterday and he was like, hey, I was thinking about you like the other day. And I was like, you were thinking about me? What? Okay. Oh, nice. Having fun, I hope. Kids in toilets, lol. I do not like um, depositing solid waste at public facilities. My mom, my mom said I would do it everywhere as a kid, but I don't remember ever doing that because that's just nasty to me. This is interesting. So we have two pentacles on the table right now, right? And this is also interesting because we're going to do a little math. So we're going to take uprights as positive and reversals as negative, right? And so remember before the Four of Pentacles, or if y'all watched part one, the Four of Pentacles came out in reverse with Judgment in reverse from the Kawaii Tarot. And now with the two cards from the vice versa, I always got to remember to show the right side. And I get confused because there's an image on both sides. Is this the rich one or the poor one? Saying I love you. This is how to be a heartbreaker. And that's the song. He showed me that song and he just reached out to me recently. And I was like, oh snap. But either buddy who's walking with his legs together and on tiptoes, saying, no, no, I don't need to go. Oof, man, it's rough. But we got the Five of Pentacles in reverse and the Knight of Pentacles upright. And I believe that is the back of the Knight of Pentacles. If you can see his butt, if you can see the horse's butt, it's the back. Yep, that is the back of the Knight of Pentacles. Man, so somebody is like slowly like walking away from a situation, but it's like ultimately putting them in this Four of Pentacles, or maybe it seems like someone is walking away, but like, is the Knight of Pentacles coming or going? Because honestly, it's like nasty auntie. You're making him. I mean, if it's that bad though, if it's that bad that he's like on tiptoes and like crossing his legs, then you just got to go for it and put toilet paper down on the seat if they don't have the little paper seat covers. It's what you got to do. Um, but yeah, it's like this Knight of Pentacles is slowly exiting the situation. But with this being the Five of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like that's realizing that a certain place isn't home. And so he's taken the biggest pentacle that he has or had in here. And maybe he's coming out of that isolated energy. This is how to be a heartbreaker. I don't know why that's stuck in my head. I don't even know the full song. Um, but look at that horse booty. Let me stop. His horse ain't got no cover, does it? Because I know the Knight of Swords, it has the skirt on the back. I think two of the knights have skirts. Two of the knights' horses have skirts, and maybe two of them don't. Um, and so it's kind of sort of like he's leaving everything behind. Like even though he has this big pinnacle, I feel like that's his hopes and dreams of everything to come, and he's taking it out of the situation. Like he's exiting this situation, right? Is the front side? Yeah. So with the front side, he's going to it, but the back side, he's actually exiting. He's leaving under the cover of night too. So I feel like he doesn't even necessarily. I don't even know who this is for. Okay, talk to you soon. Tell Costa I said hi. Hi, Costa. Costa. Mhm. Why am I reading like this? See, all these cards want to be reading. Okay, so this is in general, right? So I think it's time for us. Ain't no he's and theys and she's. I think it's time for us to really realize where it is that we aren't truly fulfilled in our lives. And for us to, even if we got to move out slowly, even if we have to pack it up, sort of like box by box and move it box by box, pushing the boxes down the street. I think it's time for us to do that. It's time for us to value more what it is that we want and what we want to see built instead of where we're comfortable, right? Because you can be in a situation that is very familiar to you, but still feel like you're out in the cold. And that's one of the worst places. And I think that's the man of the riches. I think, but let me see. I can't really tell. Y'all will be able to see better than I can, right? So here's the front side. Yeah, that looks like that's the poor man. This is the man with money. Oh yeah, look at him. Look at him. He is definitely dressed better. Someone really invested a lot into this. A lot into this. And it's upside down. See, that's the thing with money though, right? That's the thing with money and with creature comforts. And just being comfortable in general. Where you're comfortable doesn't always necessarily give you like space to grow, right? And it's like sometimes family in some situations for some people, when family doesn't fulfill the roles that they're supposed to fulfill as far as being encouraging and supportive and having your best interests at heart, like if you have family that does nothing but use and manipulate you, then like this could be the energy of going out and starting your own family, and leaving the one behind. And it's not that there can't eventually be some kind of like recompense or reconciliation in that situation, but it's like it ain't it right now. And it's so unfortunate that he's like so well dressed. And look, is red a theme? I can like barely see these cards, but I want to say like red is a theme here. This is like a root. This is a foundation that we poured a lot of time and energy and effort into, and he's departing with that same red, right? And going to build it somewhere new. So it doesn't matter how quickly you move. The horse ain't even moving. It looked like the horse is still in this video. Like, look, the horse got all 4 feet on the ground. That horse ain't moving nowhere. In either picture, look, oh my gosh, this horse is so slow, but it's fine. It doesn't matter how quick you are. As long as you're making movement and as long as you're making progress, then you're getting closer. Keep following the stars. With a page of wands sitting at the top of the deck, the front of the page of wands sitting at the top. I think this is, and look, it's that same red. Ooh, okay. See, this is why. Oh, that's the page. This is why these pages of wands. This is why people be getting effed up by people of the wand suit. Cause like, look at him. Oof. Who illustrated this deck? They do not need to be doing all that. But it's like with the orange, that's the solar plexus, and with the red, that's the root, right? And so this is all about reestablishing your root and your foundation from a sense of power, right? Because the orange is all about power, and he ain't got no shirt on. It's like the red would be covering his top, right? So he's laying himself bare. His root is exposed. It's like whenever he's working with a monster, right? Like, and he a page though. So I mean, like, where the king at? Because if the king don't look like this, then the page might get lucky tonight. It's 2020. Pages are the new kings and queens. Okay, pages 2.0 are the new kings and queens. Pages 1.0 are still pages 1.0. But I think this is a page 2.0 because we had the Knight of Pentacles slowly walking away from that Five of Pentacles, and it was the wealthy Five of Pentacles, right? This is about us finally pursuing what it is we actually want with a real like drive and thirst and hunger. Like he's in the desert, right? To survive out there, you got to be tough. Maybe that's why he's so built. That's why he ain't got a shirt on. He's hot because he hot, right? It's levels to this. Level 2 commence. Hey, I'm proud of you, Miyoshi, because you know the other day you was trying to sputter out on me. So keep it up. Not to call you out, but keep it up. Um, but this is like it's like when a storm hits a tree and the roots of the tree are exposed, right? It's like in the root he's being laid bare, but he's standing in his power, especially clarified by this wand, right? Him having the power to finally go after what it is that he wants. And at the bottom of the deck is this the moon in reverse? No, what is this? This is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Oof, the back of the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, right? So that's the front of the Nine of Pentacles. With the back of the Nine of Pentacles being in reverse, I feel like this speaks to, especially with that Five of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like this speaks to things that were growing that we weren't even necessarily aware of, right? I think with this being the Nine of Pentacles being about dependence, this is like a codependence, but it's a codependence on a level that we're not even necessarily aware. It's like we're potentially finding ourselves in these situations where we're no longer fulfilled. And maybe that's why the Knight of Pentacles is backing out so slowly. It's because we don't necessarily know why it is that we're feeling so dissatisfied all of a sudden, but we know that we have to move. And like with the moon being full here, a full moon is all about manifestation, right? And so not only are we being led by our intuition, not only are we being guided to just trust that what we're leaving and what we're going towards is for the better. Not only are we trusting that what we're going towards is better than what we're leaving, we're also trusting that there's going to be an actual fulfillment, right? An actual, like, that we're going to be able to stand strong at the end of the day, just like with that Page of Wands, right? Like, I don't want to be no Page of Wands again. If, like, I don't want to be no Page 1.0. Like, I don't want to step into that Page of Wands energy to find out that I'm a Page 1 and not a Page 2. But I mean, it is what it is. That's what I got. I'm just going to count these out really quick. I'm not going to do a full. I guess I am. Miyoshi, since you're the only one in here, I'm going to do these last, actually, because I do want to count these out. So there will be piles at the end of this video because I dropped some cards on the floor and I don't know if I had them all. That's just how it works. But yeah, that's all about, we're in this space right now where we have the keys. That experience you had yesterday. Now I know something was with you. Oh yeah, the one you told me about. Who with you? You know something was, or you know who it was. The energy is completely different in your room. I mean, also you've been opening up yourself to a lot. You've been decluttering a lot physically to get energy to move, and then you've also begun to declutter energetically. So the fact that like the energy was completely different in your room. Okay. But yeah, maybe you're regaining a lot of sensitivities because you are, decluttering. So I have 4 Oracle decks. Let's start with the one I use the least. We'll go from least to most used. So on this deck, I'm only going to pull one card because I got to read this book. I got to read all the books for the Oracles. Ew, that's gross. But yeah, we're just in this space where we have to trust that where we're being guided and where we're being led is where we're meant to go. And it's like we have the keys now, and we're never going to get to where we're supposed to go if we don't move. A, even a little bit of movement is better than no movement. B, if it's meant for you, it will be there. C, but you got to do something. D, because you know that you're not fulfilled and happy where you are. E, so why would you stay there? But no one is going to take you there. F, because we're in this space where we have to take ourselves. G, and that's just how it is. Or you can sit and you can wait and you can sulk and you can be that dude like having everything but still feeling empty. Everything you thought you wanted, you now have, and you are not satisfied. Is this a card? Oh, see, this is why I don't like this deck. This deck do be calling people out though, high key. So the daemon that came out is Abagor. Abagor. Is Abagor the name of one of the people from Halloween Town? So Abagor, the quick blurb on Abagor is also Eligor. Okay. As a fallen angel and Duke of Hell, he is described by demonographers, as a handsome knight carrying a lance and standard, having 60 military units under his command. Oh my gosh. We got a knight coming in, folks. We got a knight coming in. And they said handsome. They said he a handsome knight too. Somebody about to get trapped or tripped up based off with their eyes. We need to start looking with our hearts and with our senses and not just with our eyes, like with that page of wines. Not saying that page 2.0. 2.0 what? Oh, 1.0. I mean, like if it is a page, y'all hear Chino just barking. If it was a page 1.0, but he looking fine and he looking right, sometimes you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go. Now, how am I gonna read this book? I'm gonna read the inspiration and the divination for Abagor. I'm not gonna hold it up, so use imagination if you already forgot. So the inspiration. Many of the most powerful generals in the world, good and evil, winners and losers, are remembered not only for their skill in battle, but also for their rousing speeches and the loyalty of the men and women under their command. Very few of us do battle with weapons on a daily basis, and yet we do still often need a keen strategy for skirmishes of a less violent nature. When we are not fighting alone, when we are not fighting alone, and it is also worth remembering that sometimes we shouldn't try to fight alone. When we are not fighting alone, gaining the love and loyalty of our team may make all the difference. So the divination is focus on fostering loyalty and building teamwork skills. Okay. So this is actually good. Oh, the knight. Is this a knight 1.0 or a knight 2.0? I think this is actually a knight 2.0. See, this is what I don't like about this deck. Well, okay, he did fall. Okay, so he still failed. But some of the cards in here just be like gods from other like cultures and civilizations that were demonized. Like Ra. They made Ra a demon and Kali. Like really? My girl Kali, for real. But this is talking about like you can have the strength to fight on your own. You can fight some battles on your own. But for some battles you might need help. So if you are in this situation where you are no longer feeling Um, it's like if you're in a situation where you need to leave, and maybe the reason why you're exiting slowly is because you can't safely or comfortably exit fully, then this card is telling you to look at resources, strengthen, like depend on a friend, right? If you have a friend that's trustworthy, like there are certain things that you may feel that you have to go through alone that you honestly don't have to. You really don't have to go through them alone. You have people who are there to support you, but you need to lean on them, potentially, right? If you have trustworthy people, um, because it's like the the moral of your story, but it's not the moral. The impact of your story isn't solely based on what you do and what you accomplished. Sometimes it's also about the connections that you make along the way. It's about your presence, right? Because you can be a king that is hated, but I don't think any of the kings or queens in the tarot deck are necessarily hated. I think they're all admirable in their own ways, right? And so it is about gaining and garnering the trust and admiration of the people around you. So feel free to utilize those things, right? And just because you need help sometimes doesn't make you any less than, it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't mean anything. All it means is that you were in a space that you needed help. And a lot of times it takes more strength to reach out when you need help than it does to stubbornly persist on your own. And sometimes you can get a lot farther, a lot quicker, with a lot better when you reach out. And so if there's a situation that you're in and you could use some help, maybe consider reaching out for help potentially. And it was the Knight of Pentacles, right? So that could be also like not only are you sort of like leaving one very close dynamic, because it's not the Knight of Cups. With the Knight of Cups, it's like family or family like either you had a vision of a family or it's your actual family that you're like sort of stepping back from. I said it, like it's the home, right? Like no longer comfortable at home. If you need to get out, what was I saying? If you need to get out, reach out to somebody. Um, I don't remember where I was going with that, but that's all about asking for help when you need help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help because we all need it sometimes. We all need it sometimes. That was actually one of my biggest lessons of last year. Was reaching out for help when I need it. Well, I'll take this. Oh, two. Hey, Miyoshi, pick a number, one or two. I'm going with two. I'm sorry. Oof, 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 oof. Well, Mammon. Mammon, already know what that's the personification of greed. That's that Four of Pentacles. The energy of that Four of Pentacles has been with us from the start since I pulled that first Kawaii deck. And you could say it took a break for. No, wait, did it take a break? Did it take a break? I don't think it did because I only used two tarot decks. It came out by itself, and then it came out the second time on the masculine side, which was actually the feminine side. Um, oh, it was taking one of the pentacles out of the Five of Pentacles in reverse, making it a Four of Pentacles. Um, so this is all about hoarding, right? This is about hoarding. It's about being greedy. I remember the last time and the first time I saw Mammon, it came out crossing the Angel of Mercy, right? And so with greed, I feel like there's this association of pride. Um, like you're not reaching out because of pride, right? And it could be like a level of pride of like, I don't want anybody else to be able to take. You said two. Oh, snap. You said two. We were on the same page. Hey, two has been another number for me. Threes and twos lately and fives. Two plus three is five. Hey, but what was I saying? What was I saying? With that Dude, needing help. Oh, if you're in the space of like, oh, I don't want anybody's help because I don't want anybody to be able to take credit for this, and I want to be self-sufficient, I want to be self-made, I want to do all this on my own. Like maybe that's another mindset that you need to step away from. I didn't even read Mammon last time because it just said greed, and I was like, okay, I know you. I know who you is, but I'll read them this time. Or I will attempt to. I will read Mammon this time. So, the inspiration for Mammon. Many things are not so bad in moderation. A tiny bit of greed could arguably act as a force for positive motivation. Unfortunately, it's very seldom that there is such a thing as a tiny bit of greed. Avarice tends to root itself fairly deeply, and each bit of material wealth gained only leads to greedy person. What? Only leads the greedy person to wonder how much more can be acquired. Beware of avarice. Focus on gaining needs and comforts. Avoid not being able to appreciate what we have in the constant pursuit of more. So while you're getting more, avoid not being able to appreciate what you already have. Like that's what it said, right? And so that's interesting because it was the wealthy man. You just read me. I told you these cards, even though when I first got them, I was a little bit like, oof. These cards read people. They read. Remember, I told you about the chalkboard, Miyoshi? Remember, I told you, I think you might be the only person that I've told all of the details about the chalkboard to. Um, I pulled a card for him, right? And the card was like, look at the bigger picture. What you're doing could be affecting people. I was like, ooh, read him. Yes. Amy. Let me stop. Um, but yeah, they can cut. They can get there. Um, but yeah, it's interesting that Mammon popped out, and it was the back of the Five of Pentacles. It was the man who had everything, who was just like, there's an emptiness to avarice. And a lot of times it is, especially as people, a lot of times when we are acquiring a lot materially, it's because there's a lack somewhere that we're trying to, like, there's a void that you're trying to fill with stuff. And the lack could be a lack of security. So even if you don't necessarily spend a lot of money, if you work really, 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 really hard and you're always stacking pinnacles, it's like then there could be this subconscious fear that like you could lose everything at any moment. Maybe you had a rough childhood growing up. Maybe there were points in your life where you were like homeless or starving and it just wasn't great. And so now you work so hard to make sure you never get there, but you never enjoy or appreciate anything that you have, right? We're always looking at the space through which we do things. Maybe you are getting stuff to make up for a sort of like a lack in self-confidence, a lack in self-worth. And so you're putting all of your worth in the possessions that you own. And anything could happen to those possessions, right? They could all be gone tomorrow. Um, but you always like look at the space through which you are acting. And you always like, if you can't appreciate what you have while you are acquiring more, especially once you reach a certain level of comfortability, then that might be a red flag. Like, hey, what am I trying to compensate for by doing this? If you're the type of person who's always trying to like show something off, right? Oh, I got the latest this, I got the newest that, I got the biggest this. Like, that's very like Page of Wands 1.0 type energy and Knight of Wands 1.0. And it can be a King or a Queen of Wands in reverse, right? And maybe, I guess it could be the Pentacles in reverse, but I feel like with Pentacles in reverse, you would just think that they're like greedy or stingy or like cold or they don't value people. They like value money over people. Um, but it's like, what are you trying to cover up by all of this stuff? And why do you have to flaunt it so hard, right? And so that could be something in direct opposition. I feel like with those two cards together, it's definitely possibly like someone not reaching out because they don't want to be seen in a certain way. They don't want to be seen as needy. They don't want to be seen as greedy. They don't want to be seen as someone who lacks something. They don't want to be seen as someone who just uses people to get stuff. Like either way is not necessarily great. And you can take either approach on either side of the scale. Um, but yeah, just like look at that and break that down and reach out for help if you need it, because that's what we do for each other, right? That's why certain programs are established for the sake of helping the people who need it. And a lot of people like to take viewpoints that the people who use those things take advantage of it, and the people who reach out for help don't want to work themselves and don't want to do this and don't want to do that. But we never truly know someone's circumstances, and we never truly know someone's situation. And it's not for us to judge the people who are doing that, because we never know when we're going to be in a situation where we need help and when we need to rely on those things until we can get back on our own 2 feet, right? So at the same time as us not hesitating to use those resources when we need resources, or to not hesitate to reach out for help when we need help, also too, it's for us to not judge others who do. And that's it. I don't even think I'm not gonna say I don't think. I don't know if that will resonate. I don't know if it will, if it won't. I don't know. Oh, I love these. So this is my favorite Oracle deck that I like never use. You just had a flashback of an ex from high school and how you had on these new Air Force Ones. He stepped on them. Wait. Oh, and he was like, really, you care more about those shoes than me? I mean, was he a good ex or a bad ex? Because some of these exes, like I like my shoes are like $20 off of Amazon, and I let me stop. I still care more about those shoes than I would about someone personally. Like I love you, like as I love the collective, but hey, if you trash in a way that you try to treat me like trash and you try to belittle me, then like all of the love that I have for you is like 5D plus. That's 5D plus love. That's the love that everybody get just for being down here. Personal 3D love, I don't F-suit you like that. I don't. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? Get to know me. You're gonna be seeing a lot more sides of me, I guess, because this is just I'm like, I don't know. The towers were too fall. The towers were too tall and fell too hard, and for me to not be all of who I am, because that was my lesson. That was part of my lesson. So I'm going to be all of who I am because I'm not trying to learn that again. And I'm trying to move forward, like get my rewards. Hello? Oh. Well, shoot, we all have lessons. So he was the feminine that gave all his heart. Let me stop. So I finally have an oracle card. Oh, what was I just talking about? Oh, I said 5D plus love that everybody gets. This is about oneness. Oh, okay. This card is oneness. Let's see. Let me hold it up where you can see it. I wonder if I do a little bit of this, even though you see me a little bit less, you see the card a little bit more. I don't need to be seen. Oneness. Oneness actually came out. Is oneness 28? I think it's 28. Oneness is 30. My bad. Another 3, right? Oneness speaks to balance, patience, and divine masculine. Divine masculine energy in oneness. I want to get another card. Not to clarify oneness, but just to see what's up. So that card speaks to. There's also, I believe, it's supposed to be like a Native American, and I'm judging based off of the headdress. And so somebody could have Native American heritage, but a lot of the Native American philosophy that we learn is that they treasured, valued, loved, and respected everything, right? Even like whenever they used something, they used all of it. They weren't necessarily, in essence, they weren't necessarily super flashy, right? It was a little bit more of a needs based, in essence, stereotypically, it was a little bit more needs based, but they were also like still very beautiful, right? Naturally beautiful. Like, baby, you light up my world like nobody else. It ain't hard to tell that you don't know that you're beautiful, and that's what makes you beautiful. Like, they know they're beautiful, but they don't need a lot to be beautiful because they're just naturally radiant. Oneness, I am naturally like this because I respect everything. Everyone's eyes respect me, for beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I am he who is beholden unto by all. Oh, I just saw Malachite has been my stone for the past like 3 days. I got a Malachite message like 3 days ago. And then I saw Malachite, no, 2 days ago. Then I saw Malachite somewhere yesterday. And I saw Malachite again come out tonight. And I was like, wow. And it was connected to Hathor or Hathor. That's what I was looking into. I was looking into Hathor because for some reason ancient Egypt has been popping for me lately. And one of her stones is malachite. One of her colors is turquoise. Her other stone, it's another blue green. It might be turquoise. Turquoise and malachite might be her color, her stones. Um, According to one of the videos I saw. Why am I referencing Hathor? It's the beauty in everything. All are beholden unto me. I don't know. That's about oneness. Maybe it's also about seeing the beauty in everything, because I feel like it is the divine masculine. It can be interpreted in a certain way. Thank you. Finally, that part of the divine masculine energy is to be the beholder, is to be that which appreciates the beauty in everything, because the divine masculine supports and protects whatever it is that the divine feminine creates. So that's appreciation and protection for all creation. And maybe that's why oneness came out with divine masculine. Hey, I work there. I work there. And appreciation for everything is a very something that we attribute to the Native Americans, right? When they used every part of the animal. Or so we are taught by the victors of that, honestly. Not to go there. But now we have 28. Remember when I said, is that 28? 28 just popped out. So 28 is magical realms. It's about belief, confidence, and co-creative power. Belief, confidence, and co-creative power. Magical realms. We have 30 and 28, a difference of 2. We have 1 and 3, a difference of 2. Wow. Okay, 2. That's a subtle 2, too. It's interesting that the divine masculine came out with co-create. So that could be speaking to a little bit of a feminine influence coming into the divine masculine sphere. And it might be this feminine influence, honestly, that balances the divine masculine into the aspect and the role that it's supposed to be playing, and not necessarily the overactive role, if you can call it overactive, or just dysfunctional. Let me stop. Role that it's playing now. Because I feel like the feminine, when the divine masculine aspect is twisted or out of balance, there's an inherent amount of care and love that is absent. And even when you talk about toxic masculinity, it's like, we're almost culturally in a lot of places training and discultivating. What's a word for like cultivating it out of someone? But it's like removing all of the compassion and care from a lot of people, right? And a lot of different cultures. And so it's like without that compassionate, caring, loving aspect, it's nearly impossible for masculine energy to serve the purpose that it's supposed to serve in that protective role. And the protective role that a lot of people seem to fall into is very domineering and dominant and isolating and restricting. And that's not protective. Like when you protect something, it's just like caring for a plant, right? You might have a little splint that you might graft it onto something to give it some kind of structure. You protect something, it's just like caring for a plant, right? You might have a little splint that you might graft it onto something to give it some kind of structure. Does all of the creating and manifesting and growing. A true masculine presence is there to provide and to support. And so I think there's a little bit with this magical realms, like co-creative power and belief and confidence. It's just like a little bit of an injection of what it's been missing this whole time. And it's almost at the same time, while there is this reintroduction of the femininity that the masculinity doesn't have, they are also regaining a bit more of that true creative, raw, manifestive power that they should have had a long time ago, right? Because if you look at the yin and the yang, there's a little bit of the black and the white, and a little bit of the white and the black. And the white has been all white and no black, because black is typically associated with the feminine. It's the void through which everything is created, and white is typically associated with the masculine. It is the light which gives rise to creation, right? The light is what supports creation, because creation, like plants, need light to grow. But all of the nutrients and soil, like everything that the plant needs itself, is in the seed, but it needs light to grow, right? The light supports the plant's growth. The light supports what is already inside of the seed, right? So it's like been like all white, no black, like no heart, no soul, even sometimes. And like man doesn't even have to be man. Man can be like mankind, right? How sometimes it seems that whenever we come into these like sort of power struggles, we don't see other people as people. We don't see other factions as people. We don't see the other side as people. And so there's a lot of heinous things that are justified to some people because other people aren't people. And even the way that we talk about certain issues, and even the way that we handle certain things, and again, it's different from place to place to place. And today was the yellow planetary seed. Oh snap. Oh snap. Speaking of the seed. Let me stop. um, but there are like, even in some policies, even with some mindsets, even with some people, it's like, when are we going to start looking at people as people? There's just a lot of heart and a lot of soul that's kind of sort of missing in the world right now. And with everything that's happening, I feel like it's creating opportunities for some of that to be reinserted where it's been lacking for so long in so many places. Um, wow, I did not necessarily plan on going here. I love these cards. If this reduces to a 2, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, what? 28 is also a 1. And then we have a 3. So if this is a 2, oh, it's 23. Boo. 23 is a 5. Boo. Hey, my mom was born on the 23rd and I'm born on the 28th. 23, illumination. It is expression, positivity, and joy and inspiration. Exactly. Everything coming back to the masculine. This is everything that's going to be returned. Oops. And I just set this right on top of magical realms. Magical realms with belief, confidence, and co-creative power. Co-creative power, not domineering or steering the creation power, right? Co-creative, cooperative, cooperative, cooperating, creative power. The co implies cooperation. It implies input from both, and not one person just like being like, here's my minimal input, do the rest. Because isn't that how it is? Isn't that how babies are born? Some dude comes in and does the bare minimum, and then somebody else actually does all the work in creating the baby. And then he's like, "Oh, that is my child. What did you do for this child? Did you eat for this child? Did you carry this child? Are you suffering back pains because of this child? Did you all of a sudden develop health problems that you've never had in your life simply because of the fact that you're bearing child?" Let me stop. Okay. I'm off my little soapbox today. There are some good news. There is positive masculine energy out there. It ain't all toxic and nasty and gross. But with illumination is to bring light to something, right? And then we have 23, which is a five. Fives are all about change. It can be chaotic, but that's just because people don't like change. People aren't necessarily, even though we are very adaptive creatures, we also fall into habit very easily, which is interesting. So maybe this could also be on a little bit more subtle of a note. Hey, it's 5:23 right now. Hey, on a little bit more subtle of a note, this could also be talking about, it's like a magician energy at play, but it's like a magician in reverse. Because between oneness and magical realms and talking about the seed again, it's like we have everything that we need inside of us. Going back to the Abigor, right? We may just need a little bit of help. We may need a little bit of light, a little bit of water, to come in, but everything that we need, we have inside of us already. We may not see it and we may not know that we have it, but it's all there. And with this energy of illumination, it's turning that magician in reverse to the magician upright. But it's going to require us. It's like we have to turn that magician upright. The magician isn't going to turn itself, right? With that Knight of Pentacles, even if it's slowly, you're going to have to make some kind of effort or progress or do something to turn this upright. Ain't no Wheel of Fortune here. And the Wheels of Fortune, honestly, some of them we might have to be turning right now too, because it's like we've done all the work, but with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like you don't push the wheel one time and then it moves forever. Like the wheel continuously moves, right? The wheel is continuously turning, implying that whether it's you, whether it's somebody else, with this co-creative power, with the space that we're coming into, where we have the keys, where we need to step up a little bit more, we're going to have to do a little bit more to keep the wheel turning. So you can't just keep your hands off and expect for it to keep on turning. You got to keep doing work. But it's up for us, with guidance and with assistance, to keep the wheels turning. And that's sort of what's being illuminated right now. That's what's really, really, truly putting us in our power, is the fact that through our free will, through our choices, through the choices that we make, we are choosing to claim our sovereignty and our dominance. And we're choosing to make things happen, because I believe it's starting to feel like we're no longer in a space where it's like a 99 to 1%, like make stuff happen, right? 99% believe, 1% just lay around and hope, like do a little bit here, do a little bit there. It's not like completely 50-50, but it's like, we got to get the ball moving. And, there are some people who would say, like, oh, well, like, I've worked for everything I have. You always got to put in work. It always has to be a struggle. It doesn't always have to be a struggle. Point blank fact, period, check the box. Like, it doesn't always have to be like a grind. Why? Because if that were true, there are so many people who work a lot harder than the most successful people in the world. If we subtract shady ethics and questionable business decisions, the people who work the hardest aren't always paid the best. In fact, it seems like the people who work the hardest seem to have the least sometimes. Um, or there's like a disproportionate amount of like work to money, work to wealth, work to abundance, work to comfort, right? And it's because like it's more than just work. It's more than just work, and it's more than just trust. There is a middle ground, and the middle ground is shifting. It's shifting not closer to work, but closer to action. It's shifting closer to action, acting on what it is that you're receiving, acting on what it is that you are knowing. It's like the plans, the blueprints are coming in, but you have to build it, right? It's like you get the furniture from IKEA, you assemble it. They make it and put it in the box. You take it home and assemble it yourself. That was me, right? That was me. Yeah. And I've honestly been on the other end of that spectrum a lot, where it's like, oh, I know it'll happen. I know it'll happen. I know it'll happen. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. It'll happen. And eventually, yes, it does happen, but there's more that I need to be doing. So, it's like we're coming to a center. Um, so I guess now the energy of the Wheel of Fortune is here, as well as the energy of the Magician in reverse. Um, but it's going to require work to turn that upright. Something is going to have to happen to flip that card. Worked hard, didn't get anything. Every job, definitely not my worth. Exactly. And now that you know, and now that you realize that, you can move differently in the future. I don't know how. Only you will know how. You in spirit, and maybe somebody else who can get some insight can give you some guidance. Um, but yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, illumination is all about expression, positivity, and joy, and inspiration. That inspiration is what's key, right? Inspiration is what the most successful people typically have. Inspiration is the answer to the prayer. Let's say you pray for abundance. Excuse me. You ask what it is that you're supposed to do that impacts the world. You ask what it is that you do that changes lives. Inspiration, illumination. The light bulb goes off, ding, right? Then you act on that, right? The idea in and of itself, the idea isn't going to accomplish itself, right? You have this co-creative power, but it requires you to step up to it. Co-creative power is sitting in between oneness and sitting in between elimination, right? It's just like there's a lot of change here. We have this one and this zero. We have this two and this eight. And it's interesting, 28. And Miyoshi, since thanks for being in here, because you brought this to mind. If we're talking about creating and manifesting things, especially in where it comes to like areas that may fall into the realm of abundance, right? Something physical. Um, we have the three on one side and the five on the other side. The three is something that inspires and creates change, even though in and of itself isn't, even though it in and of itself is not changed, it's catalytic. The five is all about like the genesis, it's the birth, it's chaotic, it's new. It can typically work out in a positive way, but it's unstable, right? Because it's new. Hello, it's unknown. But sitting in between that, the two and the eight, Scorpio and Taurus, those are the houses of possession, right? And so sitting in between oneness and illumination, again, this is like that energy of us being a little bit more conscientious of the people outside of ourselves. Because Taurus is the energy of your personal possessions and what you have yourself. Scorpio is the energy of like group wealth, the things that like some people say, or it can be unearned income, right? It can also be taxes, I think. But it's unearned income because the thing, it is that which we do for other people, right? When they need help. That's the Scorpio part. When other people need help, this is what we pay to take care of them, right? Because we never know when we're going to be in a position where we need help. And like this is all very like that energy. This is very forward focused as members of the human race. If we are to claim our potential for all of what it is, how do we treat each other? Right. once we've really, really, really made it, once we are more globally stationary, in that, like, it's not always about one person conquering another person, like this person has more, that person has less. Like, once we reach a more harmonious, unified sort of global body, what does it what what does the way that we treat each other look like, right? And where are the changes, what are the changes that we need to make to see all of that come to fruition? And when do we start doing it? Because it almost feels like, in order for us to reach this level that we are supposedly striving for, with all of the light workers on the planet and all of the people doing good and doing this and doing that, like, in order for us to reach that, where more people are on the same page, I feel like there are going to be events that happen that will serve as opportunities to push us in that direction. Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, what's to happen if the people who have everything are the very people who unfortunately end up being unable to use it? Then what happens to all the stuff, right? It's just, I feel like we're shifting from a more, and oneness, the first card that came out, it's like literally right there. Duh. We're shifting from a more individual focus to a more group focus. We should be shifting to a more group focus. And I feel like there's going to be lots of events that sort of begin to happen to really push us there. And with the birth and the innovation and the direction of the utilization of social media and the internet, where we are more interconnected and we have the ability to be more informed and aware of what's going on around the world, even like the fact that, some country can be having protests, and then it starts trending on social media, and you have other people in different countries who may be so far removed from that, but who are also supporting it. Like, this is the direction that we're heading in. And I feel like a lot of people aren't necessarily seeing it or noting it as all of the bad stuff is happening, because with traditional media, it seems that they tend to focus on and emphasize all of the wrong in the world. But literally, there are times you can open like the internet, go to Twitter, even YouTube sometimes, and you can see all of the positive impacts. You can see people banding together to support each other all over the world from different causes, even within like countries, right? There'd be like a thing where, let's say, something happens within one religious community, and then a different religious group will come and will stand guard while they do whatever. One second. Okay, I don't think she did, but she might have. But that, I feel like that's a lot of the stuff that we don't necessarily look at or consider when we're looking at the state of the world. And all of that is the stuff that actually matters, right? That's how we know where we're actually going. We know where we're going based off of the people who live here, based off of what, like, we can actually see, not based off of what, other people will like to show us. Um, and honestly, that has been one of the things that shifted my view of humanity the most. And that's why I'm a lot less doom and gloom than I am now, because I can see the hearts of man changing. I can see kindness and compassion slowly but surely being reintegrated. And it's interesting. because based off of, and I don't want to get too political because it's honestly not about the politics, but it's about shifts in energy, right? But based off of paradigms that we were in the past, there was a certain group, and then not only do you get into that, then you start getting into like the power of belief. And when one collective believes something, then is that not what happens because we're all believing it? I don't know, it gets weird. But the sudden shift from one side of the spectrum to another side of the spectrum, based off of who was in power, right? So it's like based off of who was in power for 8 years. All of a sudden, you have someone else vying for that seat of power who takes a platform that is unabashedly and pretty blatantly very skewed against what was already there, right? I feel like that's the old paradigm where it's like, as soon as it feels like maybe we are coming out of all of the them versus us, A better than B, C ain't even like an option. It almost kind of sort of seemed that like, and it seems that that kind of sort of tends to be the reaction, even throughout history, kind of. Um, but I believe that we're moving into the space where we can really break cycles like that. And once we begin to break those cycles, we can really move forward. And I think that's why a lot of the people who call themselves light workers, or that's a part of the reason why a lot of the folks who call themselves light workers are here. Like not everyone necessarily has to be like out on the streets marching, championing a cause. But I think it's for us to sort of like bring in and hold those like vibrational frequencies, right? It's almost like we're serving as grounding rods. Was that the word? It's like we're serving as grounding rods for it to really like come in and to have a point where it can stick and then proliferate out. Um, and it's stuff that I guess I've been like hearing depending on where I watch, right? But to really see it sort of like happening and to really see the truth behind it has been interesting. And it shifted my perspective. And like I think I've said on this channel before, like if you would have put me in front of a council of whoever and whatever, and if they were like, okay, the fate of humanity rests on your shoulders. Are they worth saving? Old Patrick would have been like, no, wipe them all out. I don't care if I'm included. But now it's like, I can see that things are moving, things are shifting, and it's actually very beautiful. But there are people, there are energies that will fight hard to convince you otherwise. And it's been interesting. Oof. Man, so that's gonna be my like activist deck. Oh wait, no, I'm not using this one yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I pulled you out prematurely. Oof, and they're blue cards. um yeah, that was interesting. Okay. But it's all happening, right? And maybe that's another reason why how I actually feel about the whole twin flame thing is honestly so complex. Because I feel like there's levels and layers like there is everything. But I feel like, that would be one of the reasons why it's so important for like these unions to start happening now. Because I feel like in part, whenever we heal things within ourselves, we heal it within the collective. So that's us being a grounding rod for these healing energies to really proliferate and to spread out and to radiate from, first of all. Secondly, when these unions come into place, it also serves as a grounding rod for a higher frequency of love to come in and to be grounded and rooted and then proliferate. And so there's almost this Exactly. It helps Gaia. It helps people. I believe that, in the healing that we do and in the love that we give to ourselves that then we then radiate out, it also like it shifts the frequency of the area enough that it'll start to like shake other people, right? And it's like as they're vibrating, as they're shaking, they're starting to like shake some of the dust off. And they're shaking some of their own like grime off, stuff that's been on them for years. And then all of a sudden, things that they've wanted to do for so long, they're now able to do. Opportunities that they've been pursuing for so long are finally coming in. Things that they've like habits that they wanted to kick, things that they wanted to. One second. Okay, I'm back. Um, but yeah, it's like, once we do it, I'm sorry. She got me candy, and I'm trying to eat less sugar. She's being a bad influence, but I'm eating it, ain't I? So hey, shoot, it is what it is. Multicolored Twizzlers. This video is not sponsored. Okay. But yeah, I feel like, in those local environmental shifts in frequency, it shakes up other people. It's like on little scales, we are pushing the free choice spectrum a little bit closer to the middle, right? By subconsciously encouraging other people to pursue what it is that they want. Because people can see, right? And a lot of people aren't satisfied. A lot of people walk around as shells of who they actually are. And a lot of people's first response to something different or to someone who is a little bit more whole and who is more complete is to try to tear them down and to hollow them out to be as empty as they are. But things are going to be shifting where you're going to be inspiring people. And then they're going to be asking you what you're doing. And this blows my mind. But the friend who I went to stay with, he asked me, how did I like overcome my depression to start doing everything that I'm doing now, to be in the space that I'm in now, because he knows someone who's still like struggling in it. And one of the reasons why we're so close is because he helped me through it. He was one of the people I was closest to when I was going through it the roughest. And so he got to see a lot of it. So he saw me at my worst and now he's seeing me at my best. And he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, bruh, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just like awesome. I'm just special. And you're not like me because you're not on my journey. So you will never be me. I'm just obviously I'm joking. Um I hope y'all know I'm joking. I am joking, just want to clarify. But I think that's part of the impact. That's part of the because it's like I feel like sometimes when people say like energy and frequency and vibration, it sounds a little disconnected from reality. But like that's one of the ways in which it happens, right? It's where these subtle things, energy, frequency, vibration, it's all very subtle, right? But it's one of the ways in which those subtle things actually begin to gain weight. It's like a snowball, right? As they begin to snowball until they're big enough to push something and that we actually see and interact with. I'm not going to finish these. But yeah, so I see it. I see it. And I know I come on here and I talk a lot of smack sometimes, but it's just because, and I guess Miyoshi, you're right. It depends on the person, right? We're all different. We're all unique. And so for some people, like having that label may actually serve them a lot more. Um, Especially if they're able to listen in and get like the actual information. Okay. So the next deck that I use the least is the Wild Unknown Archetypes, even though this is my new favorite. Don't smile at me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. That was my shadow. Like, I guess I see it. Now my light side is like, yeah, I died. That's why it's set up this way. Not everyone is the same. You have to be like understanding and accommodating to all people. But then my shadow side is like, yeah, but it seems like it's just tripping people up because they're not seeing what they're supposed to see behind the pretty box and shiny ribbons and fancy labels. And my light side is like, dude, if you don't shut up, everybody ain't the same. We done told you. And my shadow side is like, don't tell me to shut up. And then they just fighting. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I like to have fun sometimes. All right, what do I need to see in here? This is such an interesting shift. You completely understand. This is such an interesting shift from what was out. Why did I know this card would come? Oh, it's not even the card I thought. I've been seeing this card a lot. First, I thought it was the river, but it's the forest. The forest has been coming out a lot. Let's see. Anything else want to come out? Okay, read the forest first. All right. I'm not going to read the book. But I was watching somebody. I actually found this deck on another Quantum Tarot, I believe is her channel. I watch her sometimes. I love when she says, "Is Jazz? This is Quantum Tarot, but Jocelyn, the Quantum Queen, or something, whatever her intro is." I kind of live for it. But she said these are Kim Cran's bought on the archetypes. I said, Kim Cran's? What? She got another deck out? Let me go buy it. The Forest, right? And I really love what she said because this came out one time and she said she used that phrase like, you can't see the forest for the trees. When you're in the forest, all you see is trees, right? But when you're outside of the forest, you sort of get to see it as it all is. And so when you're in the thick of a situation, when it's completely surrounding you, it's very dense, right? And it's interesting because I'm looking at the colors, and you would think that red and orange would be at the bottom, and then the blues and greens and purples would be at the top. But this to me is saying this to me is saying that the real okay, it's saying a few things. This ain't even fresh. Let me stop. I did say thank you. I said thank you. Don't think I'm ungrateful. I'm still eating it. So I said thank you, right? It's butter for me. I don't want to be brownie. But I also don't want a lot of sugar right now. But it's like, they say as above, so below. And so with the red being above and the purple being below, I'm feeling that and are those stars? Or is that just on fire? I don't know what that is. But it's like we are rooting things down. This is continuing. This is the same message. We are rooting things down here as they are up there. As the lighter side of it up there, right? In heaven, we'll say. You know it. You were thinking about as above, so below. Yep, you knew it. I went there too. And that's why It's we. It is our call. We girl. Listen to me talking like I'm some kind of light worker. I guess I am now. Let me stop. I am. I ain't trying to get in trouble. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm down here, awake and in my dreams. I'm gonna be so glad when this collective gets it together because I'm tired of fighting in my dreams and being stressed out and having to protect people. I can't even like put people in their own power in my dreams because it's like I don't have time. It's like the threat is right there. I remember I had one dream. I got like 2 or 3 or 4 people in their power before it was like right there, and I'm like, okay, I just gotta go. Anyway, we shadow workers, girl. Don't we? I am a middle worker. Well, I wouldn't say that because I don't think my shadow is necessarily bad. I think my shadow just gets upset at the way things are. We working from the inside out. Okay. But I mean, you can still you can have your shadow work for light. I think my shadow kind of sort of works for light, especially with my moon trine. Moon. I'm not even going to talk about astrology, but honestly, some of the things that upset me the most are like the ways that we treat people and the rhetoric that we use when we're trying to be progressive. Because part of me, honestly, this is one of my biggest pet peeves whenever it comes to initiatives to make people a little bit more open-minded and inclusive. But the whole argument that like we have more in common than we have differences, like we're more alike, that whole thing in my mind is dumb because I feel like, if we started teaching people way back that just because we're different, like we're still human, like you like this, I don't like that. I like this, you don't like this. Like, and that's cool. We're both still people and we both deserve respect, right? I feel like if that's what we would have championed a long time ago, we wouldn't have to go from sector to sector to sector to sector to sector, right? Because then it's like when it comes to racial things, right? We're all people. We have more in common than we have differences. And then maybe people get a little bit more racially sensitive, right? And then it comes to sexual orientation, right? We have more in common than we do differences. Cue like multiple years and people dying and being murdered and civil rights movements and stuff like that. Then we go from like gender expression, right? And so, even though we are making some progress on the sexual orientation front, on the gender expression and identity front, there's still more work that needs to be done. We're all people. We have more in common than we do apart. When it comes to able bodied people versus disabled people, people with disabilities that you might not even see. And it's like, we're all people, our way through the entire library of differences that there can be between people? Because, like, how long is that going to take us? And that's why it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Okay. You're a shadow worker, calling it out. We fall into darkness to see our way out. Dark night of the soul, even stars shine in the dark to light the way. That is very true. Who that? Who's that? Flying through the sky, doing flips, dropping kicks. R.I.P. Vine. Okay, I'll check that out later. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Darn it, 1, 2, 3, 5, 0. I was 5 seconds from seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tragic. I get it. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but I get what you're saying. Um, but talking about this forest, yeah, I feel like we're supposed to be the trees, and It's like we're anchoring in everything. All of that as above, we're making it below. Like heaven on earth. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Right? On earth as it is in heaven. And that's why, you hear some people saying, oh, the reason why we're doing all of this is so that we don't have to die to go to heaven. Not that earth will ever necessarily be completely and 100% heaven, but it can be a whole lot less hell, honestly, if we choose to move that way as a collective society of people who interact with other people. Um, but yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. So I'm just like, and then the part of me that tries to like the a little bit of Aquarius I got is like, I don't have to be like you to deserve respect and decency. Who told you I got to be like you? You ain't even like you. Honestly, if we're being really honest, you're not even like you. Because when you go behind closed doors and you crying because you wearing all these masks and facades on the outside and don't nobody really know me because I don't even know myself. See, I'm in my shadow for real. I'm in my shadow now. Because the way people treat people it really irks and irritates me sometimes. Like I had jury duty one time. And I think I've talked about it on this channel. On this channel, like I have multiple. I don't know if the video was up. But I had jury duty one time and somebody testified and we're deliberating and somebody literally said, and I went to school with this girl. I knew her since middle school and I was just like shook. But we were talking about one of the people who got up and testified, right? And she was like, oh, well, he didn't speak proper English, so I don't trust him. And my jaw dropped because it's like, there are people who literally think like that. And I'm just like, this is why I don't F's with you no more. But I'm just like, yeah, those are some of the things that my shadow gets upset about. I'm just like, really? And then people who just like don't treat people well. I'm just like, it irks my nerves. It irks me something ferocious. Let me stop. So the next card that came out is the fault line, but the fault line is in reverse. So I feel like this card speaks about someone or something, since we're talking more grand or cosmic things right now. Oh, what colors am I eating? I'm eating orange and pink. Solar plexus and heart chakra. Even though the heart chakra is green, but pink is associated with the heart. Check out a rose quartz. With the fault line, I feel like there's this old energy that's like kicking and screaming and trying to convince people that it ain't going nowhere. But the gag is you already on your way out the door. Like you're being escorted out by security right now, talking to all of us still in the establishment, telling us that you ain't going nowhere. When you got like your front lip in the door because you still talking, but the rest of your body is already outside. Really? It can also be someone like resisting a change. Ooh, now I'm getting warm. What is a front lip anyway? You got the protruded your protruded upper lip is in the door. Front lip. What's a front lip? For us, just like the fault line in reverse speaks to inevitable changes, and it's a panic. This is the panic. Fault line in reverse is the panic. Partly panic, partly disbelief. Um, because I think I use these decks out of order. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, more generally, it speaks to all of the energies that are like, kicking and screaming on their way out, trying to make us believe that they're not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Um, but I think on a more individual level, this may be speaking to the things that we can do within our own lives to, even if we don't make some kind of grand standing, take large positions, with the fault line in reverse, it could be speaking of the things, the fissures and the rifts that we can create in the hearts of those around us. Firstly, by the changes that we allow to occur within ourselves. Because with the fault line, like whether you want this ice to crack open or not, it's going to be cracked open. So I'm going to be a little bit whatever in this reading because I'm getting tired and because I like to have silly. I like to have silly and be fun sometimes. I like to have fun and be silly sometimes. But it's like, okay, no, we ain't going all the way there. I'll take it back. I'll take it back. We ain't going there. Aries, Venus and Aries, you tried it. Sagittarius, you tried it. We ain't going there. But like this change is inevitable. It's inevitable. There you go. So many cards fell to the wayside just to get that one to slide out. Let's see. It better be a good one because your buddy stayed in the deck for you. Ooh! Ooh. This is interesting. Arrows. Arrows came out. I guess this is in reverse. On the side? I don't know. So it's like this is technically upright with the word at the bottom. Eros is all about, it's more like seduction. It's like enticing. On a different note than where we were. I think, well, I'm almost trying to extrapolate it, and I feel like I could, but I don't know how I'd make it make sense. But in a more personal, like day to day in our day to day lives, in our relationships, on a more individual collective, maybe. I think this is about introducing a little bit more love and a little bit less lust, which maybe can also be, like looking at the hearts behind the bodies. That's my mother. Um, right. I think this is looking deeper than skin deep, to the heart and to the soul of everybody. And then that would put me a little bit more on the trajectory that I was already following. But also in our personal lives, this is about us shifting value from what is comfortable, what looks good, what has been appealing, and shifting it to a little bit more value based, um, a little bit more substance, and a little less. What's the other word? I don't know. I was trying to think of a word. Yep, I know I put those in there. I was trying to think of a word that started with an S that wasn't substance. Um, ooh, Ooh, with the 1 at the bottom of the deck in reverse and Kairos, but I'm not going to take Kairos. But the 1 in reverse at the bottom of the deck, I feel like this may be us. That goes back to that oneness energy, right? I think that could be us more individually allowing that universal consciousness to inhabit us. I'm just going to slink to the shadows. Right? Ooh, I like that. It's almost like the more of why am I still shuffling? Why am I acting like I don't know what to say when I know what to say? It's almost like the more of us who take on this one consciousness, this love, universal consciousness, it gives that consciousness in and of itself more of a footing down here, right? It's like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen an anime. Let's say an action anime, a shonen, right? Like Dragon Ball Z, when Goku does the spirit bomb and everybody puts their hands up, right? Or like any other show, like Digimon, when they were like, "Oh, we believe in you, we believe in you," when everybody believes in somebody at the end of the whatever, so that they get the power to step more fully into, like, they elevate in power to conquer and slay some kind of evil. Right. I feel like with all of this is why we're coming out of this. This is why we're moving to a bit more substance, individual based, and less what can I get from you? Are you useful to me? Like a little bit more like lusty, right? And this is like the inevitability of this change because we will be a forest of ones. And as a forest of ones, that 1 card. As a forest of ones, we can do this, right? We can invite that down, which would shift us to a less with the sphere in the middle and all those lines around it. Oh, I don't see it. The 1 card actually looks like it looks like the card before the 1. But the one before the 1 has colors and the 1 card is black and white. With the sphere in the middle and all those lines around it, right? It's like radiating outward. We're all going to be beacons for this light. And once there's enough beacons for the light, then some actual positive change can happen down here. Right? And wouldn't it be grand for your grandkids to have an earth to call home and not to be amalgamized stardust? The one you said about oneness. The one card? Oh wait, yeah, that was the one, right? Oh, let me find it again. Call me. Da da da. Ooh. Oh. Who was in my Eros is not here. Tell me why I saw this crack in the egg. I saw that crack in the egg like this. And I was like, there's a peach in this deck? Let me stop. See, Aries, my Venus in Aries is starting to cut up. Starting to cut up. Like one person surrounded by many, the DBZ. Okay, yes, yes. And then with the spirit bomb glowing in the middle where all the energy streams come into it. Okay, now I get you. Now I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's the spirit bomb. People of Earth, lend me your power. I'm trying to defeat this evil from destroying the whole world. And for those of you who died, we're going to wish you back with Dragon Ball. So, don't even worry about it. It's like Shrek when Farquaad is like, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I'm like, okay, really? Let's just do it where ain't nobody gotta die. Like, please. Like, can we do that? As a collective, can we manifest that, please? Okay, so I'm moving on to the last deck now. So altogether, this would have been like a 4-hour video. Interesting. Interesting. Now we're moving on to the energy oracle cards. Man, I guess my Saturn in Aquarius was like, no sacrifice, no victory. Oof. We just manifested victory over here. No sacrifice required. Come to the light side, because the dark side will send you to your death. And then you're gonna be burned up afterward. Burn up for what? Transformers. Oh, I don't F's with Transformers like that. I was never a fan of the animated shows growing up, so I didn't even bother watching the movies. But Hot Rod was my favorite Transformer. And it's not just because I got a Hot Rod toy at McDonald's in a Happy Meal. Yeah, we do, but I'm sorry. Let me not talk like, people don't die. We died to our old self. Oh, I like what you did there, Miyoshi. I like that. My old self needed to die. Well, some of my old self is chilling with the shadow now, so it ain't completely dead. And some of my old self got reborn into the light. So, I feel like a lot of my old self actually got reborn into the light, returned to the light, because it came from the light. What's this? What this card is at the bottom of the deck is 5th Chakra Archangel Gabriel. Happy Family came out. Yes, I love it. Happy Family with that 10 of Cups energy in the rainbow. What number is this? It's number 4. I thought it was number 4. Okay, all right. It seems like we're making a return to the readings of part 1. Or maybe that's just about us being like a global family that's happy, like one happy human race where we're not tearing each other down, We're not trying to find out who's the new punching bag, but not punching bag. I guess, yeah, the new punching bag. Okay. I love just like talking like this because I feel like this is a lot of stuff that I just sit in my room and I think about, and I just get mad sometimes because I'm like, why is it like this? Like, I feel like it wasn't supposed to be like this, but it is like this. And I'm like, where did it go this wrong? Like, how? How was this allowed to happen? Well, we're rectifying it now, so whatever. Happy family. I just try to stay chill, though. I don't be trying to ruffle no feathers. Because once I get mad, it's over. Can't no Taurus save me no more. Because once I get mad, then the bull is seeing red and everybody can get it. Whoever in the bullpen can get it. Whoever is in the bullpen can get it. Girl, I'm over you. Get out. Get out. Ew. Tell me why the man with a coin, the man holding a coin just came out after Happy Family. Well, I'm trying to keep this less about love, right? I feel like the man holding a coin, I just want to preface this by saying if there is a man who's been in a holding a coin energy, maybe you ain't an earth sign typically, but you're moving slow like an earth sign and you want to come in to make this happy family. If you manifesting this happy family with me, man holding a coin, with that coin being manifestation, bringing something into the physical, with the coin being family, if you want to be family, then come on with that pentacle. I've been waiting. Let me stop. I mean, like low-key though. I haven't been. It ain't like I ever stop getting more stuff to work on myself about. So my self-work will never end truly. But with the man holding a coin, if I try to extrapolate this back to the whole world and this happy global, oh, come on in, breeze. Come on in, breeze. I know when I feel that breeze that I'm onto something. And I've been like a little toasty out here, so y'all late. Okay. Which door is this? If this is the door to romance, I'm gonna be dead. Okay, it's not. Yay. Oh, this is actually financial constraint. Why did I think it was the door? See, this is my thing about the dudes holding coins and their financial constraints. Who is asking you to be financially unconstrained right now? Like, just come in. We can work on financial constraints together. Oh, okay, with the door to value at the bottom of the deck. Door to value at the bottom of the deck. I said door to, and I was like, oof. So the message, the point I was going to go with this is like, when I was talking about us all being like one big global happy family of human beings who value and respect each other through sheer virtue of being human beings and vessels of his holy light. Then it's like you have this man holding a coin, right? It's almost like humanity coming together, treating each other as family to create this one world in which we can all live, right? And then comes out financial constraints. Somebody like, nah, y'all too bankrupt. Y'all don't even care about yourselves. And that's the reason why y'all can't care about nobody else, because you don't even care about and love and accept yourself. So, man, wow. See, that's what my shadow. Well, sometimes I got two shadows. My shadow got sides just like everybody else. I guess. I don't know. I got my upper shadow and then I have my lower shadow. My upper shadow contains all of the frustration that my light just simply cannot hold because it is the light. I mean, the light will move and the light does act. And so I think my light tries to splinter itself just to remain a little bit more partial and to keep me from getting upset, because when I was young, I was very short tempered. And so even my light was like, okay, well, let me cut a little bit of this off so we can lock it up. You don't have time to emotionally coddle people. Oh my. I mean, let's, manifest and attract people who don't need to be emotionally coddled. But as a global like collective, it's like, people are so far into their own mess. Like with all of the suprematory energies going around, it's like, why do you need to be better than somebody so bad? Why you got to try to put everybody else down so bad? Like, why are you trying to fight for the top so bad? Like, why do you need to be special, really? Let's break that down. Let's talk about that. Let's analyze that. Because we're all trying to sort of just like get to the table and get a seat and eat. But some people are slowing it down. But my light side says, be nice. That sounds like some karmic energy. Why you put the H in there? I'm dead. Is there anything else? So either this is about romance and there is somebody who would love to be a happy family, but their coin just ain't right. And because their coin ain't right, it's sort of stressing them out and stressing everything and blah, blah, blah. Or this is about us just being morally bankrupt and ethically bankrupt as a, that's the old energy. Let me clean that up. Let me clean that up. That was the old energy, and the old energy in the old paradigm in the 1.0 in the 3D. That's what it is. But moving, like where we actually are, like I was saying earlier, right? People are actually starting to give Fs. It was like for a while, people were like grabbing all the F's, and so but nobody had an F to give because there were no F's for anybody to give about anybody else. But it's like now it's like we're receiving this grand cosmic from here to the sun 15 times long semi truck of F's, and everybody's getting F's. So hopefully now we can start giving F's about each other. Right? I think that's what this is about. This is what we're shifting out of, right? That's how so this is like moving this way. We're moving from financial constraints, being morally, spiritually, ethically bankrupt, to being men with coins. It's like we can afford to be a little nice now. We can afford to care about people who are not ourselves. So then we can become this happy family. But there will be some energies and people, honestly, who will be interested in seeing it sort of remain shifted this way. Now coming out it was on the side. It is the fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. Gabriel came out again. Came out on the side. The fifth chakra is all about the throat. I just disappeared for a second. The fifth chakra is all about the throat. This is all about truth, right? Speaking the truth, living in the truth, having a voice. This is all about having a voice. Contracts. I don't like this. No. I'm gonna say for somebody in here, you may have a spiritual obligation. Okay, I'll take it. For some folks in here, and what's this? And some folks in here, there is a spiritual obligation to speak your truth and to act in it, to be heard, to have a voice. Finally, coming out in reverse is the sun in reverse. Oof. Why is the sun in reverse? Because I feel like before we can speak our truths, first we must discover them. First, we must know them in order to speak them. Because when we speak our truth, we are to speak with an unshakable voice that is backed by the clarity that we have found within ourselves. This is all about externalizing the internal light. That's why it's in reverse. It's not bad. This is all about finding that internal light, operating from that point, and speaking it. Okay, well, Miyoshi, thank you so much for sticking with me. I do have a few of my decks left out. If you want some general cards, I can give you some general cards. You can pick a deck. I don't know if I'm doing specifics. Remember back in the day when you were like, it's time for you to start like reading specific questions? And now I just be trying to answer specific questions all the time. I'm going back to generals. So if there are any cards that you want, Miyoshi, then go ahead and just let me know which deck. If you want a general, left at the bottom of the deck. Who is this? Third chakra, Archangel Samuel. This is all about the solar plexus, and I was talking about that little sun, our inner sun. Why? Yes. Whatever I feel guided to. I just want to use the kawaiis because I love them, so I'm going to use the kawaiis. And I feel like out of all the people who frequent my channel, you may be okay. I'll take that back because my best friend come on here sometimes, but you frequent a lot more than she do. You two, I feel like would be the two most likely to appreciate the kawaii-ness of this deck. And I just love this deck. It's so simple but so powerful. And I'll even give you an oracle card. But I'm not gonna look at it. So I want a card to come out, but if I see the top, I'm putting you back. You ain't the one. For Miyoshi, ooh, something almost came out. For Miyoshi. I ate 2 of these Twizzlers and I'm already done. I'm already over it. I'm just so over sugar. It's been a journey. Okay, let me focus a little bit. I feel like it might not be this deck, but I don't know. Oh, okay. All right. But I already put that deck away. So this isn't your card. But left at the top of the deck is a card that I think I just saw. Oh no, Angel of Balance. Okay, shout out to the Angel of Balance. We're going to be making things a little bit more fair down there. Oh, and at the bottom of the deck is a man holding a heart. Girl, well, come on in. Where you at? Come on in for all this loving. I got it all for you. Got it cooking on the oven. Well, it's warming on the oven now because I mean, it was done on the oven like a minute ago, but you took a minute to get here, so it's warming on the oven. But we can pretend like it's still cooking. Have you ever seen Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? Have you ever seen Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt where Yuko comes in and Jacqueline is like, she said something about cooking for her husband. And Yuko was like, well, the only cooking you said you did was in the bedroom. And then she was like, oh, because she don't cook. I don't know why she was acting like she cooked. She's like, I'll cook my husband a meal. And she was like, well, I quote you, the only cooking I do is in the bedroom. I was like, oh, put her out there like that. I have been in my Cancer placements and my Taurus placements a little bit. So I'm no chef, but, you know, I can do a little bit more than just, you know, boil a pot of ramen noodles. Thankfully, now. I don't know why I'm feeling it now. Like, come on in, babe. Like, hello? Don't keep me waiting. Oh, wait. I wanted to pull the Oracle card first. Ooh, what card is this? I don't know. I'll look at it. Don't keep me waiting. Look at this nerd. Oh, my gosh. The High Priestess and the Page of Swords. Like, just move already. Stop overthinking it. Like, once you know, you know. That's all you need to know. Like, what more do you need to know? Why are you taking so long? It's a brand new truth. It's a brand new realization. Like, you knew it for, it's like with the High Priestess, like, you knew it. But with the Page of Swords, it's like now you know it. But with the Page of Swords, you don't necessarily like know how to use it or like what to do with it. Who is this? Who am I? I don't know. I'm in my Gemini South node right now, so y'all seeing all my faces. I'm just playing. I'm a Pisces sign. Oh, are you talking about the High Priest? Oh, the cards. Your guess is as good as mine, girl. But I do want to get you one of these. I'm going to grab you one of these, and I would like it face down, please, because I'm going to read the cards first. I'm going to get you a Magical Dimensions Oracle card and Activator. And also with this deck, she was very intentional with the artwork. Ooh, girl. Oh, no. Why? Oh, my gosh. Okay. I think that might have been just a little message for me, maybe. I don't know. Somebody in isolation, that's who it is, Miyoshi. And I didn't even see the isolation deck. Okay. I'm asking y'all to come out, just like come out where I don't. So first the isolation was flipped over in the middle of the deck. And now Empowerment came out. It is grounded strength and stamina. So maybe somebody who was in isolation is finding this ground, is grounding themselves in this new truth, finding the strength to move forward with it, and they got that stamina, so you know they're gonna last. They'll be a little bit less shaky than they were before. That's the stamina. Okay, now for my girl Melshi. Thank you. I will take that. Oof, you got two of them. I'll just slide them under here so I don't see what they are because I ain't got time. But left on the bottom of the deck is, I don't read these in reverse. Ooh, ooh, nasty mind. Who, your mind nasty? I ain't say nothing. If you was thinking some other kind of stamina, that was on you. Let me stop. Let me stop. I don't know what energy I'm in, but I'm loving it. I'm just like loving being less restricted right now. And it's kind of unfortunate that everything that happened had to happen in order for me to really reach this point. But now I'm just at this point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just me. Give myself permission to be me, to be free. I'm just awesome. I actually had this little song. Let me see if I can find it really quick. No, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to play it. Okay. So don't laugh at me. I mean, if it's funny, it's funny. I don't care. Since I am. It was, girl. This is what we call a cryptic message that no one will probably see, but I can hope. I do like these little song things. They just like pop up all the time. No regrets. No regrets. Exactly. I think my mom saved it. Mm-hmm. And this just like popped into my head one day. I'm just awesome, 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 awesome. I'm just me. Darn it. It's right here. I think this is it. Let's see if y'all can hear it. Oh no. I almost did it. I'm gonna do it. Give me a second. I want to clarify this by saying, in my mind, this sounded different, but I couldn't get the instruments on GarageBand to do what I needed them to do to get this to be like how I needed it to sound. So I'm just gonna go for it. As soon as I hear it play, I'm like, oh, my Chiron is in Leo, so I get a little bit shy when it comes to like being in front of people and being seen sometimes. I'm that in that Chiron and Leo generation. That's why we all like introverted AF. Let me stop. Okay. I'm really gonna put myself out there like that. It's fine. Give me a moment. You know what? I'm gonna suck it up. Anybody got time for hype no more? I'm over that. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna turn it up so you can hear it. Ah! I'm just me. Give myself permission to be free, to be me. I'm just awesome, 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 awesome. But anyway, that was it. And it just popped into my head one day. I was feeling good. And I was like, you know what? And honestly, that's been one of the lessons I've been learning. Thank you for the kind emojis, Miyoshi. I appreciate them. Honestly, at this point, it's time to throw caution to the wind and to be all of who we are. Because I ain't come down here. Thank you. Like, it could have been a lot better. And honestly, I just wasn't going to, like, put any more effort and time into it. And I just sent it to my mom anyway. So I was like, Like, but in my head, it was like a whole production. I'm like, I can't get it to line up. I have a few GarageBand songs. You Can Sing, we know that. We can all sing. Doesn't mean we're good at it. Doesn't mean we're good at it. Let me stop. You have many hits in your head. Oh, well, thank you. I used to sing as a child in the choir. I actually used to do musical theater, believe it or not. That was before my tragic departure from my inner child and also my shadow. If y'all saw Queen Cup's shadow video, you can sing, you just don't. You should. You should get my energy. Let me stop. Hit one of them Christina Aguilera runs. I believe it. I remember that one time. Was it the Pumpkin Patch video? No. It might have been on the first drive-in double feature on the first video. Whenever Chad had like those little songs playing, and you were saying like you were like making up little songs to go with the music, and I was like, oh my gosh, me too. Some of them songs were so good. I was like going in. Man, that was a long time ago. Where does the time go? Okay. All right, let me stop. Let me try to get a little bit, let me get a little bit sensitive. So for my girl Miyoshi, however many comes out, I'm going to read. So I'm hoping I don't get the whole deck. But for some reason with this deck, I feel called to read every single card that comes out, even if it's a stack of like 15 cards. Yes. Ooh, okay, so the card that came out is the Sun. Better days are coming. Who funeral was that? Was that my Uncle Stanley's? It might have been. Better days. I'm not gonna sing on here, but "Better Days Are Coming" is the song that just popped into my head. And there's a card that flipped over in the deck. That's what I'm looking for right now. Better days. Better days. Really? A card flipped over. I know it, but you gonna act like you didn't. Ooh, that card almost fell out. Better days. Better days. Ah! They got me. I was trying to prevent a whole stack from sliding out, but they came out. Okay, I'll give it 2 more. After this, speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, somebody said something. At the bottom of the deck is the Fool. I love this energy. The Fool comes out so much in this deck. Maybe it's just the energy that we're in right now. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're starting with the Sun. Better days are coming for you, lovely. My love, look at you. Just be bright, be positive, be radiant. Claim your light. And like honestly, like really claim it. Like don't do that thing that you do when you're like, oh, like I'm in my shadow right now. I'ma claim my light when I get around to it. Like, blah blah blah. Like actually claim it, girl, because better days are ahead of you. But I think it's gonna take you to like really claim it. And I ain't trying to like throw you out there like that. Let me stop. I'm getting a little sassy. I need to calm down. Oof. With this tower though. I think I'm kind of sort of getting a past energy with this. And honestly, with this tower, it almost to me looks like a battery that's being charged. And so it's like these tower moments that you've been going through have been charging you up. Oh, what is this feeling? That's weird. I don't know what that is. It's like my left ear isn't ringing, but it's feeling weird right now. I feel like it charged you up. I was supposed to have charged you up to make you into the Sun. Whatever tower moments, right? Because we have the fool here. So I think between the tower and the fool, I think you're sort of being called to completely shift your perspective on everything and to who in reverse? Oh, this Knight of Swords is in reverse. Um yeah, I don't know. It just felt weird. I don't like it. It feels like there's like a pressure there. It just feels like there's a pressure. Um Oof. Okay, now it's gonna give me a headache. Girl, I'm gonna have to get out your energy because you've been having too many headaches. I'm sorry. But I ain't trying to have no headache. Okay. I feel like you've been charged by these sort of tower moments. And it's like lightning strikes this tower. And like you see how it's grounded? And you see the structure? It's like lightning will strike it, but the electrical energy will be like equally dispersed around it. It's almost like this tower is built and fashioned in a way to withstand whatever impact this is. To get like to power you up. And with this Knight of Swords, I feel like there may be it's like there's a truth. Oh, now my other ear is starting to do it. Okay. Um, Hold on. Let me lay these out first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, girl, what are all these weird sensations starting to go on with my body right now? It's like my ears are acting up, my forehead's starting to get itchy. Hello? Okay. Oof. Accurate. Let me stop. um oh, I know how to read these. So I have the top, I'll have the bottom clarify the top, right? So I feel like you've had these tower moments where you sort of feel like you gave into situations that you weren't supposed to give into. Um, it almost feels or seems like wasted time, wasted energy, and wasted effort. And I think maybe that you may be, I think you're coming out of it now. With this Knight of Swords in reverse, though, I feel like either you weren't carrying a truth on or something like that. I think you're beginning to enter this space where you can really analyze your towers for what they were. Tell me why this judgment card just keep coming out. It's 2020, I guess. I'm doing a little bit better now, if you were wondering. Um, Part of me was like, wait, is something going on because I'm not reading these right? That might be it. With this Knight of Swords in reverse, though, I was like, either you don't see the truth or you're not like doing anything with it. I think you're starting to reach this space now where you're really looking at all of these things that have happened in your life and you're looking at these towers from the beginning until now as things that have charged you. And by charging you, it's like you're looking at them. I don't want to say you're beginning to look at the ones and zeros behind the faces, but you're beginning to look at the ones and zeros behind the faces. And so, what may have seemed like wasted time and opportunity with this, oh my gosh, girl, you got too much. Let me stop. I'm sorry. My body just got too much going on right now. I might have to put you on the chill list for a minute. Cause now like my heart is starting to do something. I'm like, oh, this is too much. This is too much. Um Girl, let that thing just open up. Stop fighting it. But it's almost like, you were it's like you gave into things that just didn't pay out. But honestly, what you were doing, it's like you were dropping these coins into a piggy bank. And now you're in a space to smash that bank and to find out how much you actually have. Um, and so I think the next big area for you, the next thing that you need to bring light to. Okay, thank you. I get it now. That's why everything was going haywire because I was not on this track. Um, I think the thing that you're bringing light to right now, and the reason why, my little doki doki, is that it? Kokoro, my little kokoro, which is heart, Japanese for heart. I'm using the kawaii deck. So my little kokoro, the reason why my little kokoro was, it wasn't going doki doki, but it was just like, ew. It was like kimochi ga warui, like the feeling was weird. Let me stop trying to speak Japanese. But this is why. Four of Pentacles in reverse. It's time to loosen up, girl. It's time to let in a little bit of feelings. Between the two and the four, you have six in reverse, which speaks to you overall. I feel like you're in this space where you may be not excited. I don't want to say you're afraid of it, but I feel like you're not excited to really put yourself in situations where you have to depend on anybody. Maybe. Like, you don't want to have to depend on anybody. And maybe that's one of the reasons why your heart is a little bit. Oof. Maybe it's because it's like. Mm, it's like. I feel like there's this energy of like, you don't want to let someone in right now. Basically, it's like you don't feel stable enough in yourself to really invite somebody else into your life right now. Because I feel like what you're not trying to do is be dependent on anybody in any way. And so it's almost like there's this energy of like, you know what, I'd rather tough it out alone. I'd rather struggle alone rather than like be open to that. There are like literally so many other things that I have that take so much greater priority right now than like worrying about some dude. Um, when in reality, I'm gonna keep reading these cards and I'm gonna see what's up. Um, but yeah, I feel like it seems like there's a little bit of a hesitation to allow someone to do something for you because I feel like there's this s- it's almost like I'm sorry. But it's almost like, oh, I don't want to read your whole life. 21717. Um 2 and 8. 2 and 8 followed by another 8. So leading more towards the abundance side, girl. 21717. So getting out of that self and a little bit more into like letting somebody else just help you out a little bit. But I feel like there's just something within you that wants so, not desperately, but something within you that just wants so bad to not have to depend or rely on anybody. Because then it's like you saw 888 today on a license plate. Better days are coming. Let that abundance roll in. 8 is a number of abundance. Um, but you have to let people. But you have let people let me wait. But I have let people let me. Wait. You have let people help you. You have let. Yeah. Okay. All right. You have let people help you. See, I feel like though there's like a little bit of a difference in between. And maybe like again, like maybe this was the past, right? Because I did say that all these towers were in the past. And all of this is sort of clarifying everything that happened in the past. And then we move into this future where things are upright. Okay, all right, all right. Oof, all right. Well, so it's like, because that's what I was gonna say. It was like, when you were, because you said you've been like, you used to be one of those people who were always working, 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 never taking time to enjoy it. almost in this space of like anything could happen at any minute. And I want to make sure I'm solid. I want to make sure I'm ready by myself. I don't want to have to depend on nobody because ultimately at the end of the day, I need to know that Miyoshi is good. Um, and so it's almost like there was this tightness around that could have been linked to, and maybe like that's one of the things that you are discovering, right? So a lot of this is like past energy, right? Did you ever discover or did you ever dig into why it is that you were that way? Because with this Knight of Swords in reverse and this Nine of Swords in reverse gives me 10 swords in reverse. So I feel like with this being a knight, it's almost like you're actively sort of like holding on to some things maybe that need to be let go. So I don't know if this could be, and again, this might not be it. Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe this is all just past stuff, right? But it's like, I feel like it's still actively blocking you in some way, right? And then there's this judgment upright. And judgment is all about, it's like internal judgment, right? And judgment is clarified by the Seven of Pentacles, which is the work card. You have Five of Pentacles being left out in the cold. Five of Pentacles being left out in the cold, followed by Two of Pentacles, sort of like juggling, or it could be a little bit of instability. Honestly, it could also be like you letting some of that stuff go. But then it leads to this Sun, right? And then the Sun actually came out on top of Four Pentacles. But the Sun is sitting on a pyramid of Five Pentacles. So I think there may be a hidden ace somewhere. Because I don't know, I'm feeling this Nine of Swords in reverse is like instead of you being like kept up at night, it's kind of like you sort of like it's like almost like being a walking zombie. But it's just like you're looking, but I don't know. Oof, girl, I don't know. But with judgment, like this is all about, it's like ultimately at the end of the day, the Seven of Swords is here, upright. So I feel like there's something being kept from you, but in reality, ultimately at the end of the day, girl, keep doing what you're doing. Keep digging into everything from the past. Keep looking for the lessons behind the tower moments. 222 with two people. Hey, there's my twos again. Um, because I feel like you may be on to uncovering a little bit of what this hidden blockage might be that's sort of preventing you from doing or getting whatever it is you want. Because I don't want to say self-inflicted, but also 77 came out. So Seven of Pentacles came out right after the Seven of Swords. So there is going to be some illumination here. I think it is going to take a little bit more because between with judgment clarified by the Seven of Pentacles, that's like there's this internal work that you're doing with the judgment card where you are sort of reevaluating everything that's happened in the past, right? And like you're revisiting it, and that's this work that you're doing. And it's almost like you're going to find this seed back there somewhere, like that hidden ace, and it's going to lead you to something, some kind of realization, some kind of something that will self-inflicted. I can believe it. Some kind of sun realization. I don't know. Let me see what these oracle cards are. Let's see. I have Oof. Oh, wow. So, number 16, forgiveness came out. Redemption, rebirth, and regeneration. This may be familial because the tree, right? Tree symbolize family. And Cinderella, Pocahontas, there's the tree that is like a grandmother or a mother. Um, with the Pentacles, it is like there is a lot of familial energy here. Like Pentacles being the suit that's most represented, but I guess there's also Swords, so there could be conflict in the family that needs to be forgiven. Maybe a little bit of resolution there. Um, maybe there is a perceived. Let me just look at this other card. And then, oh, girl. So you have 18, you have 16 and 19. So 16 was forgiveness, and 19 is harmonic resolution. It's negativity, anger, and transmutation. Ooh, harmonic resolution and forgiveness. So, mm, with the Fool being left at the top of the deck. Oof, and the Death card. This is actually the bottom of the deck. The Fool and Death. So I feel like you may not even completely fully realize yet what it is you're looking to transform or what it is that's been standing in your way. But if you continue to go back, you will find it. What card is this that came out on the face down? The Six of Pentacles now upright. Come on. Six of Pennies now upright. And so you are on the right track because, like you said, like that was the you in the past who like didn't really like to reach out for help, right? And sometimes it's like there are things that there are things that necessitate a change before the lesson is learned, if that makes any sense. So it's like, you know, let's say you're in a situation where you need to reach out for help, but since you begin to reach out for help before you ever really dug into why you didn't reach out for help before, it's like there's almost a bit, there's a piece that you're missing because you kind of sort of skipped over it, maybe. Yeah. But then it's like, why did you feel like that? What led you to that? This is just like, that's deep emotional, like, clearing that is probably still happening on some level. Um, right. Familial. Yeah, I bet. Um, there's something that's kind of sort of popped into my mind, but whatever, like the thing that popped into my mind, I know you're already looking into because we talk. And so I feel like I don't have to say it. And like I said, I like all of this is stuff that you're already doing, right? Because even when the tower first came out, before I pulled the clarifiers, I was like, I feel like this tower already happened. And it's charging you now, but with this Knight of Swords, it's almost like you've moved on before you realized why. Or there's just a little bit more of an impact that can be made. Um, because it's like you were put in this space to need it before you made the realization why you used to be like that. Potentially. But in uncovering that, there is something that you will find that will be of great benefit to you. Um, so, yeah. Oof. Come on now. Come on now. Give me something. Give me something good. I want it now. Go, 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 go. Yeah, I know. It's not pleasant. It's not pretty, but it's the work we signed up for. It's what we're doing. I feel like I said, you're well on your way and you're already on the right track. But maybe just like, girl, why am I getting all kind of headaches and stuff now? But just like, I don't know. I just feel like, it's something that was a little bit overlooked. But like I said, you're well on your way. Ace of Pentacles was in reverse. Just want to clarify. I just came across it. I'm putting these all upright because I think I do want this to be an all upright deck. Two of Cups was in reverse. Five of Cups is in reverse. So hey, that's good, right? Three of Pentacles is in reverse. What is this? The Knight of Wands is in reverse. Okay, Lovers are in reverse. All of these. Your grandmother, your mom, your dad. I don't have one. All of these. It might be in all of the above. But it might be a little bit more because like I feel like the area that you're looking at, right? You do have a point of focus. Like which one of those would affect your sense of stability? Also, it might just be going back to the generational thing, right? And maybe like that's what it is that you're being called to break. And in your breaking of that, then you will get all those better days. Um, because it's like, why do you think you have to work so hard? Would you be okay with someone coming in who maybe isn't family and helping you, right? Would you be okay with being supported a little bit? Or do you need to be completely self-sufficient? Because back in the day, we would talk about them generational curses all the time. It could just be it's time for you to break one of the generational curses. And sometimes, we come up on these generational things and it isn't necessarily a specific person that it leads back to. But if you look back at all of it, you may be able to begin to realize how when yeah, but you may begin to realize how, like, when you, I lost my train of thought. You don't want to have to rely on your partner either. Well, what if it was more like a partnership, right? And I know like there's a difference between like, I don't want to have to do this. I want to have my own thing. And like I refuse to allow this to happen. And it's like it's just kind of sort of like looking at maybe why that is. And some of the things like we don't necessarily know why we think or believe in a certain way. Um and especially with generational things, it's just like it kind of sort of is what it's always been. And it's the family that we're born into. It's the way that we are raised. It's the way that we raise the people that we raise. Um, it's just it becomes the status quo. It becomes the norm within the family, right? Are they trying to ask me to open up to someone in particular? I don't think so. Um, I just feel like, yeah, I don't think. Well, let me see. Oh my gosh. Mm. This is too much. This is too much. Girl, you need a. You're getting there pretty soon. You're gonna be like, I feel like you might be opening up to a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe this is why your head been hurting so much. So I'm just like, now I got this like slick headache or this headache trying to slick roll in right now. I'm just like, what? At the bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles. So as far as somebody coming in particular, I don't know, but I mean, you're not, we'll see. So the cards that came out, oof, the King of Cups and the Four of Cups. The King of Cups specifically is Scorpio energy, and the Four of Cups is Cancerian energy. Could just be a water sign in general. But I don't think it's necessarily like a specific person. I just think it's the fact that you're just not open to it in general. Because like look at those little cups. Like you do have 3 cups upright, but I think they're all like kind of sort of a lot smaller than this one cup that's in reverse. And so it's not gonna it's not gonna fill up. But yeah, it might not even necessarily be like when it comes to things that are generational. You have the example of your family. You let your mom help you, that don't count. No, your mama don't count. I mean, but this is the thing though, right? Because it's like let's say that like you have a car and there's something wrong with your car and you don't know what's wrong with your car, right? But you get a new car before you ever find out what was wrong with the car. So it's like just because you get a new car, just because you're now mobile, doesn't mean that the old car is fixed, right? So just because you're engaging in the activity that you were supposed to have reached, just almost like you got to the activity maybe before you completed the lesson. And so if you yourself don't know why you used to be in that space where you had to work so hard for yourself, where you didn't want to accept anything from anybody else, if you don't know like the lack space that mentality sort of came from, if you don't know the reason, if you don't know what affected you in a way to put you in that mindset, then no, girl, Miyoshi, no. Calm down for a second. It just feels like there may be an issue that's unaddressed somewhere. And maybe this issue that is unaddressed is affecting maybe like relationships, right? Let's say that for some reason, let's say, I'm not going to say it's this, but let's say that, because I know, like, let's say you're a single mother who is very strong, and your mother is a single mother who is very strong, and her mother is a single mother that's very strong, and her mother was a single mother that's very strong. Then there's this inherited strength that is rooted in you being able to stand strong and provide for yourself and to provide for your kids, right? And so, even though you weren't always in a position where you refused help, and even though you may have been put in the place where you started reaching out for help, if you never fully break down the reason why you weren't doing it, then that can still serve as a blockage for you moving forward, right? And so then it's like, well, let me like look into this a little bit more. And so it isn't necessarily like a pride lesson. It could just be, I don't know. I don't know what lesson. Um, it's one of the mysteries for you to solve right now. Just like for me personally, like, with my mother and my grandmother, and even with me, and maybe with my mother's mother, my grandmother's mother. Um, See, but like, I feel like you can have that mindset, but not like be a workaholic, right? No. Miyoshi, we can talk about it on the Discord. Um, right? Because it's like you can be an able-bodied person who works for what you have, and you can be completely and totally independent on your own, But you can be all that and be fine with taking sick days. You can be all that and not have to work around the clock, right? It's like, why are you working so hard? They got you ready to tune the whole team out. I mean, girl, this could be me misreading some cards, so don't blame your team for me. You keep working with that team, girl. Keep working with that team. They're working for you. And it may be things that like you don't even necessarily have the answers to, right? So it's like it's not necessarily like you needing to be dependent on somebody, but it's just like why do you work so hard? Like even when you were good, even when like pennies were stacked, why were you still working so hard? Like when are you gonna take a break? When are you gonna enjoy it? When are you gonna like give yourself some room to breathe? Why is it all about getting, working, right? And like maybe that's what you need to sort of dig into a little bit. I don't know if you've dug into that yet or not, but what are you saving up for? Right? But when does later come? How long were you saving? Was there ever a later? Like, thankfully you have some of that now that you were able to use, but was later ever going to come or were you going to keep saving? Right? It's like you're on the other end of that extreme, right? But these are like the questions. These are the things that you need to kind of sort of start to dig into a little bit. Well, I get that because unfortunately, like that's the way it is sometimes. And like even me myself, it's like, and I don't know if it's familial or partly cultural. Um, but it's like, whenever I get sums of money or whenever I save up so much, then it's like I need to spend everything I have because if I don't, something is going to happen where it's going to wipe out all my money. Um, and so then it's like, and one of my friends asked me one time, he was like, why do you spend all this? Like, why can't you just save it? And I was like, because if I keep saving it, something is going to happen and I'm not going to have any money. Okay. We are so opposite. Yeah. I mean, because that's what it would happen. It's like once I saved up a certain amount of money, then I would get a charge. And I just got to the point when I was like, you know what? I'm tired of losing all my money after I save a certain amount. And it seems like as long as I had less than that amount of money, nothing would happen. So that's when I was like, okay, I reached a certain amount. I'm going to spend it because as soon as I get over this, then something happens and it wipes me out. And so it put me in that like lack space. But like if you've had things that happen, and for me, like in my experiences and the things that you kind of sort of pick up or I kind of sort of picked up subconsciously, it was like that very thing. Girl, stop. I'm not working right now either. I mean, I guess you've been not working for a little bit longer than me, but it's like sometimes I don't know how you're going to take this, but it's like sometimes we, well, it's not like hold on, girl. We might have to talk on the phone. I could be reading this wrong. Don't get upset with them. King of Swords. What do they want? You're finally not working hard until the bottom. And goodness. Okay. Here's a hypothetical, right? Here's a hypothetical. Let's say that you had the experience that you had, right? Where you had to work so hard because your savings account got wiped out twice, right? And then let's say you end up in this sort of like, let's say that per chance you go from your experiences to my mind, to the mindset that I used to have, where it's like, because you started saving up and because you started working, then um, once you got a certain amount, once you maybe began to feel a little bit comfortable, something happened and it wiped you out. And let's say that there is a period of lack that you're coming out of. And so before you, it's like our our brains are plastic and they're molded by the situations and circumstances that happen to us. And so let's say somewhere subconsciously you have this belief or you have this fear that but like let's say like you have this subconscious belief or subconscious fear that you have this subconscious fear, not belief. Let's say you have the subconscious fear that whenever you get a certain amount of pennies stacked up, something bad happens that wipes you out because it's been your experience in the past, right? And so now with you coming into the space that you're coming into, where you are more connected and where it's easier for you to manifest situations, then it's like you having those experiences in the past, if they're not addressed on a certain level, any amount of abundance that you come into, you, not you specifically, but you in a very general human way, you begin, though, like once the abundance comes in, so with the money comes the fear. Something is about to happen that's about to wipe me out. Last time I had this much saved up, something happened. And then the time before that, something happened. And so they want to get you to a space to really remove you from that fear so that you don't even accidentally manifest a situation where everything that you finally get after this period of not working, like you lose. Because sometimes from our fear and from our lack mentality mindset, we manifest such situations that we don't want to be in. And so before it all comes in, they could just be asking you, hey, girl, like, this is something that you need to release. This is something that you need to release because when we bring this in for you, when we release this to you, we want you to be able to use it. And we don't want you to be afraid that something is going to happen to the point where you manifest something happening and then it just serves to reinforce what you already believed, which is like, now this is the third time I done got this much money and something happened and it completely wiped me out. Right. So like that's just one potentiality where it isn't necessarily them like picking on you or asking you to do more, but it's just, like be aware and conscious and cognizant of the fact, especially if you've been hearing about ancestral wealth coming in that's been locked and blocked by generational curses or whatever, ancestral wealth coming in, we want to make sure that the limiting beliefs and the fears that we have associated with money aren't going to also be playing when that abundance comes in. Excuse me. And it could be as simple as that. where it's like, they're not necessarily asking you to do anything. It's just, be aware so that you don't accidentally manifest this. Because the more intentional or the more you level up, I guess either way, it's just like your manifestation ability is increasing. And while you're manifesting this abundance, are you also at the same time going to be manifesting a follow up situation in which you lose it? Hopefully, the answer is no. And then maybe that's why it's like you're being asked to really address that fear before they release it. I feel like either way it's going to get released, but it's like, once it's released, we'd hope that, you don't manifest the situation. If that makes any sense, like if you can kind of get where I'm coming from. And also at the same time, learn to enjoy your life. Um yeah, that's why I was like, don't, don't necessarily go all the way there just yet. Don't not just yet. Um because sometimes we're just like made to think about stuff like that. Because it's so easy. And that's what people talk about, right? How we accidentally manifest things that we don't really want. And you're like, why is it that every dude that I'm with like cheat on me? And so you keep manifesting dudes that's gonna cheat on you. Like not only are you going after the same type, that's what you were planning for. I am so simple. I never thought it would be so simple, but I'm sorry. I don't know why that song just popped into my head. Well, I know why, because you said you're so simple. I found a way. I found a way. If you open up your eyes, it's gonna take some time to read. I don't know. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna keep going. A car, a home, travel, and be happy. Right. But at the same time, it's like sometimes there's this shadow side to a lot of the stuff. Ooh, Nine of Swords up right now. With the bottom of this deck is the Two of Swords. Um, it's just to be aware. If I don't use free will, what do you mean if you don't use free will, girl? Because if you use free will, you would choose to be alone. Stop. Stop. But yeah, it's just that because it's like sometimes, especially when it's related to things that we've had a lot of experience with in the past, and this is just in general, right? Whenever we begin to ask for something new, sometimes while we're asking and while we're in that manifestation space, we have these like fears that are subconsciously playing in the background, right? It's like I'm hoping for this and I'm praying for this and I'm wishing for that. And I really hope this other thing doesn't happen because if that happened, I would be this and I would be that. And then it's almost like sometimes we can kind of sort of giving more energy and attention to the things that we don't want when we're asking for the things that we do want, that we kind of sort of get this double whammy. And then the double whammy reinforces the old cycles. But maybe not. I mean, if somebody is destined to be with you, I feel like I feel like you wouldn't be destined to have to settle in some areas, right? Or at least that would be my hope. Like, I mean, I don't, it just in my mind it doesn't make sense for you to be destined to have to settle in some areas. So like that's a fear. So like even that statement right there, right? If someone is destined for you, especially if you're talking about something like destined, something sent from the divine, why would the divine send you something that you're destined for that doesn't fulfill you in every area and aspect of your life? right? And so then that's a little sort of like caveat that you've put onto this person. And now when you're thinking about a person, you may be thinking about more like, well, I hope they don't hold me back here. I hope they're not like this. I hope they're not like that. You're focusing more on what you don't want in that person than what you actually do want. Girl, but they didn't end up together. They weren't destined to be together. Did they end up together? Did Esmeralda and Quasimodo end up together? See, but like you see how easy it is though for you to attach things that you don't want onto the things that you do want. And then like that's kind of sort of the mindset that they're trying to bring you out of. Right? If it's destined for you, if it's meant for you, it's going to fulfill you in every single way. So why are you unnecessarily attaching all of these caveats and fears and things that you don't want it to be? Because then you might end up attracting situations where it's not what's destined, but it might feel like it's destined. But since you're focusing on all of these things that you don't want, you're going to get things that you don't want, and then you're going to think that the thing that you got is destined when actually what's actually destined for you is what you want in every single way. Like the divine God spirit, the universe is not going to like half give you something that you want attached to everything you don't want. Like why would they do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you got to learn to ditch that part of it, because if you don't, you're muddying it. And even when you're doing your affirmations and when you're doing your manifestation and everything else, you are introducing negative feedback onto it at the same time. And then you start to focus more on what you don't want, right? So that's it. Just like, refine it a little bit more. That's it. No need to get upset. Don't quit your team, because I am still potentially developing an ability to deliver a message. It ain't their fault. They looking out like they always do, girl. Ooh, two of wands at the top of the deck and the king of swords at the bottom. King of swords, two of wands, and you have the two of swords on the bottom of the other deck. Thank you, girl. I'm just like, what? Hold up. Trying to get me in trouble with your ancestors. They gonna be like, he just got her to quit on us. Then they all coming after me, like, hello, it wasn't me. I tried. Hello, sorry. No, you fine, you all right, you all right. I mean, it honestly took me a second to get there too, right? And it took you talking about it for me to like see where the disconnect is. But like the tower was upright and the sun was upright and it was charging you. But it's just, just be a little bit cognizant and aware of this whenever you are trying to make things happen. And so with that, thank you for chilling with me for several hours today. Um and for like being here while I talked about myself in some ways. It was fun. It was cute. I still need to count these cards out to make sure I didn't misplace anything. But yeah, so and honestly, I think part of me needed to hear that as well. I needed to hear myself say that. I needed to feel that, because I don't necessarily, I try not to stay in that space anymore. But there are a lot of things that I want right now, and any of the pennies that I do get, I don't need to be wasting on buying new decks. I need to actually be putting them towards what I'm getting them for. Um, oh, thank you. I love you too, girl. I love you too, girl. Ooh, why did that song just pop into my head? Can anybody find me someone alone? Yeah. One, two, three. Ooh, these cards are slipping and sliding all over the place. I'm gonna count these out really quick. You don't have to stay, but I might just read the top of the piles. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, okay, all right, all right. On top of the first pile, you listened to that last week, the Happy Feet version. Yes, I think that actually popped into my head the other day, and I'm gonna watch Happy Feet now too. It's like all these movies from like my childhood and growing up. I want to start watching. What happened to Brittany Murphy? Oh my, I'm so like out of the loop. Well, rest in peace. Like we passed in the door at the same time to the other side. Man, I'm just so wow. Yep. It's like, we down here to help each other. Years ago. Well, I'm like really out of the loop. But this Ace of Swords came out on the first pile. Right. Wow, and the crown chakra, Ace of Swords, receiving information. But yeah, I'm so man. I need to check up on Shannon Doherty. Make sure she's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? 7, 8, 9, 10. At the top of the second one is ooh, Judgment in reverse. And it's the front side, so you can see her boobies. Oof. Somebody put some clothes on these people. We all stand naked and we all get judged. Judgment came out reversed earlier. And it was all about not being too harsh on yourself. No, actually, that was about carrying forth old, outdated ideas from situations in the past. And even though we left the situation, we're still carrying some of the stuff inside of us. So it was about rooting that out. Oh, I knew she would be on. But she was on before it broke out. So hey, she been on it since from the jump. From the get go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. But we're seeing the family now. Instead of seeing the grandfather and the child, we're now seeing the parents. But it's in reverse. And Judgment was in reverse. So maybe through situations and circumstances that have happened recently, either we're feeling undeserving of this Ten of Pentacles or we're feeling like it won't actually happen. But that fear is that belief is something that we need to go in to ourselves and root out because it's not true. Right? I feel like I'm gonna be short on cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are meat. Root it out. Root it, root it. And now we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Ace of Swords upright, Ace of Wands in reverse. I feel like whatever hangups we have about being worthy or deserving of that Ten of Pentacles is causing us, it's slowing down the manifestation of the thing that we actually want. And it's causing us to, I feel like we're losing out on some ways. And like you're never going to go wrong with addressing everything that you need to address within yourself. But I think there are some times and some situations and circumstances and scenarios when it's like we're never completely healed, right? And as long as we have the desire to do or be different and the mindset to actually follow through with it, then it's like, why do we have to go through some things alone? Maybe. Maybe. 1, 2, oops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm waiting for this title card to pop up at the top of one of these decks for me to be like, I don't know. Always uncovering something. Exactly. And then we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. Oh my gosh. 10 of Cups is in reverse. 10 of Pentacles is in reverse. Judgment is in reverse. I feel like somebody is really. It doesn't even feel like they're cheating themselves out of something. It feels like in some ways. I don't know, because I feel like it's not something that you can cheat yourself out of. And so maybe they're just like delaying the manifestation of it. Like whatever it takes for you to feel like you're good, whatever. But I feel like with judgment in reverse, it's just sort of implying that there's something being done internally in excess. Because I feel like if the back of the judgment card was upright, that would be, like going within, still doing that internal everything. But upright, it's like, or either it's like something, or maybe it's something that you're missing. Always thinking, yeah. But I'm just like, I feel like someone's like kind of sort of low key manifesting delays. Because the thing about forgiveness and the thing about being free is that I think sometimes we as people keep ourselves in situations where we feel we keep ourselves in spaces longer than we have to. It's almost like we're imprisoning and jailing ourselves. And we're asking the warden, like, hey, like, am I done here? And the warden's like, you put yourself in there. So I don't know what you're doing in my cell. And honestly, I'd kind of sort of prefer for you to not be in there, but you're not leaving. So, and then I don't want to arrest you for not leaving because then you would be in my cell. And like, honestly, I just want you to get out. Like, why are you still in there? But at the same time, it's also important for us to take the time that we need. So, you know, it's very much that energy as well. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, who this? Who you? Who that? Who this? Is this a 10 of wands? Oh no, it's the 6 of wands. So somebody ultimately is getting a victory. Is that the front or the back? Well, that's the back of the 6. So I think because this is the front of the 6 of wands, I believe. Yeah, he's like returning victorious. This is the back of the 6 of wands, where he's like departing victorious. Hey, there's a white horse. With an orange cover. Ooh, even the horse got clothes on. Man, the horse even getting a prize. I think this is someone successfully, victoriously departing from everything that it was from their past, right? Everything that has been holding them back. That was 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It almost got me. The title card came out on position 9, if you were so curious. Wow, it's really been 3 hours. And it's the King of Swords. It's the back of the King of Swords. Oh my gosh. This is the front of the King of Swords. This is the back of the King of Swords. The back of the King of Swords. It's like somebody knows that they're going to be victorious, but they are so gosh darn determined to fight this battle alone. Because that's all about what this is, right? The scythe, and it's a scythe on the back. The scythe speaks to like death and transformation. I believe you can see it. Maybe if I do this a little bit. Nope. Maybe if I do this a little bit. Kind of, sort of. Not really. I believe it's a scythe down there. Somewhere should be a scythe. There it is. You see the sickle in the ground? The sickle is about death, right? This is somebody going through this solo death and standing in the ground. It's metal. It's going to take the brunt of that blast. And that goes back to Abigor. Somebody facing something alone that they don't necessarily have to face alone. And I feel like part of the victory that we feel like we're going to claim is in doing it alone. Well, I'm trying to keep it general. I feel like part of it is in like it is in doing it alone, but you don't have to do it alone. Like you can do it alone. And both victory and you standing alone is successful. Like they're both successful. Um Honestly though, since this came out upright, I feel like you don't have to do it alone. Because like if it were in reverse, I would be like, someone is doing it alone and they shouldn't be. Like reach out for sure. But it's still upright. So like if you want to do it alone, you can do it alone. But also you don't have to do it alone. You can reach out if you want. And it's almost like there's this energy of a storm that you don't even have to go through at all. But you're so dosh garn, you're so gosh darn determined to do it that you'll weather the storm regardless. And like, who are you proving it to? I mean, sometimes you just got to do something for yourself, but at the end of the day, at the same time, like, who is it really for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do have all my cards. Um, oof. It's this 5 of Pentacles. It's the same side, but now it's upright. So yeah, maybe you shouldn't do it alone. Because I feel like going at it alone will keep you feeling like I feel like going at this will alone will only prolong the feelings that you're feeling that you don't want to be feeling, but you feel like there needs to be some kind of judgment call made on your soul for whatever reason, when in reality that's not the case. It's like yes, the realizations that we have reached, like we reached those for a reason and for a purpose. But the reason behind why we did that was not for us to punish ourselves and not to create cycles or prolong cycles that don't need to be created or prolonged. Like it sometimes it is okay that once you claim a victory, you can just exit a situation, right? You can just exit. There almost feels like this like 5 of Swords, King of Swords in reverse, 5 of Swords upright energy, where it's like there's this need for someone to prove themselves and to prove the knowledge that they have. And in order to do that, they are going to fight every single battle, even the battles that aren't worth fighting. And when in reality, like you already have the 6 of Wands victory, you can take a 6 of Swords quick exit, right? Like, come on, King, turn up right and put your 1 sword with those 5 swords and just like dip out and just leave. Like you don't have to go in reverse and fight this battle. You don't have to be any more stuck in any situation that you don't want to be in than you already are. Like, why go through the pain of liberating yourself from the past situations only to keep yourself in that energy? Like we don't have to try. We don't have to fight so hard all the time. It doesn't always have to be so hard. And that could be like literally any situation in life. Um, and I think that kind of sort of like goes with me too, or goes for me too. I feel like, I've reached this point where it's like, man, I wasn't giving to myself. I wasn't doing anything for myself. So I'm going to completely hermit from everybody and I'm only going to focus on me. And it's like, okay, whoa, slow down, Betty. Like, no need to go to the extremes. Like, you can still be of service to others. You can still talk to people. You don't have to hermit, but you do need to do stuff for yourself. And then I'm put in this situation now where even though I want to work on all my work, even though it took this long for me to finally realize that I need to do my work, I can't even do it because I can't sign into the program. And so, like, if you go too far to one extreme, you're gonna have this other moment where they pull you back again. And if it's if it's related to something that happened or occurred over the period of the retrograde, we are in this post-retrograde shadow where we are learning to integrate the lessons that we have learned, integrate the lessons that we've learned, like whatever we've gone through. There's this integratory period of time where we can further our rewards, just like I said, right? And it's like, what you gained from it was what you gained from it was a perspective that you needed to have, but it isn't necessarily something to punish you for. It's just something that you needed to see, an awareness that you needed to have. And with the Ace of Swords upright, being a king or a queen, a little bit more king or queen 2.0, because Page of Swords 1.0 or Page of Swords 2.0 is what that's the default energy that we're in, because we received this new information. So in this same period, we're being granted the opportunity to become knights and kings and queens 2.0, especially of swords, because it depends on how we use this truth that we've just been given, how we use that and how we turn it into power, how we externalize it, how the way we operate and the way that we think and the way that we speak changes based on everything we just got. And how is it already like 1 o'clock? Girl, how long have I been on here? Hello? I do want to pull one of these Archangel Power cards before I get off, though. So that's why I just pulled these out. But yeah, it's like, we're given this follow-up opportunity, like bang, bang to the road. You're gonna bang, bang all over you. I don't know why that popped into my head. I've heard that song a few times because I've been scrolling on YouTube and Acacia and Aaliyah from X Factor 2018 popped up, and I'm just like, oh, snap. And they sang bang, bang. So, but yeah, we have this immediate follow-up opportunity to actually do something between the Empress and the Three of Michael. That's where we're cutting. So the Empress is Archangel Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel came out before. Fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel, speak and walk in the truth. Okay, thank you for the validation. Thank you for confirming that. I love pulling cards. Let me stop. It says, time to act upon your plans. Creativity is rewarded, luxurious or abundant resources. Time to act upon your plans. Time to pick up that sword and get a little bit closer to an empress and become a queen of swords 2.0 or a king of swords 2.0. But this is all about creating, right? This is a little bit softer approach. So I feel like, with the Empress ain't necessarily super macho, machismo. I got to do this all on my own. I have to atone for my sins, or, I have to correct all that time that I was doing things completely wrong and go to an extreme. And it's like, no, no, no. You don't need to go to an extreme. We just need you to be aware of this so that as you move forward in the future, you don't stay in the spot that you were in, right? Because it's like we're going from like kings and queens 1.0, and instead of going to kings and queens 2.0, we're going to the opposite extreme where we might just turn into like kings and queens 1.0 in reverse instead of being anything. And then the Three of Michael says, release the past. You will grow from this situation. Time heals all wounds. Release the past. We don't have to stay and fight it. The King of Swords, even though he was upright, it was the backside. We don't have to do this alone. We don't have to put ourselves in these situations where we're creating karma for ourselves to play out just because we think that it's necessary. And I'll be darned if I end up creating cycles for myself where I go so hardcore in what I need to do that I need to go and repeat lessons of like how to open up my heart again and to serve other people and to like not be so self-centered. Like I'm not trying to go that far to an extreme. Please, like, and thank you. Not for me. Okay. This will be the last one. Last cut. Cutting to, oh wow, the Empress again. The Empress this time with the King of Gabriel. Empress, Archangel Gabriel, King of Gabriel. So, King of Gabriel is generous, inspirational, dramatic, and driven. Keep your eyes on the big picture. Leave the details to others. Experience that leads to success and genuine concern for others. Okay, now let's see. Oh, these cards be sticking, sticking, sticking. I'm gonna have these cards for a minute. The Oracle cards actually used to stick like this too, and now when I use them, I'm surprised that they don't. Just give me. I'll do 2 shuffles and take the card from the top and the card from the bottom, because y'all gonna be sliding out with like 15 cards, and I ain't got time for all that tonight. It's already late. Card on the top of the deck, we have the 8 of Michael. Here Michael goes again. I feel like Michael is real pleased right now because, hey Zelda, because with the past few weeks, it's like I've been like, Michael, Michael, like, where you at, Mike? Like, I need you. And Michael, like, now you need me? Now you're requesting my presence? And I'm like, I thought the angels wasn't supposed to mess with me like this. I feel like me and Michael have a pretty cool relationship, if I can say that. And it just got really cool back here. Like really, really, really cool. Mm. Um, but yeah, I broke down. I'll talk to Mike. How are you doing, Zelda? Angel plays with fire. Okay, that angel plays with it. What? Oh, Michael? I guess Michael is the one on like the front lines. Was it you, Miyoshi? Where you were like, he is the one with the sword or something like that? I was like, oh, you right. But the 8 of Michael says, you can be free. Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was talking about. You can be free. Take a courageous choice to change your situation, not seeing things clearly. So I feel like Michael is here to confirm. Missed you too. Michael is here to confirm, like, this situation, we don't even have to stay in. The reason why we got these realizations, the reason why everything happened was solely to get us to have this realization and to move forward with it in the future. Like we don't have to stay stuck in it. Don't go to an extreme. Don't create cycles based off of things that you don't need to create. Don't perpetrate a cycle. It's like we're flipping the cycle upside down and we're perpetrating it. So we're like, we feel like we're doing something new and closing it, but in reality, we're just like flipping it on its side and we're continuously running through it. Like that isn't necessary. Just like drop it and move on. Michael said, you ain't gotta, like, it's in the past. You don't have to fight this. And then on the bottom of the deck is the 5 of Gabriel. And the 5 of Gabriel says, a challenge you can resolve. Withdraw from the, oh my gosh, withdraw from the drama of others. Have patience with yourself and those around you. So I feel like this is really the sword and the shield. Nice. I feel like this is like saying, like, it's basically the same thing. Like, have patience with yourself. I feel like the patience that we're having with ourselves is like, I feel like whatever came up, we just need to forgive ourselves. And if we got to forgive somebody else, we forgive them too. But most importantly, it's like the only fight we need to fight is forgiving ourselves. And after we forgive ourselves, we can move on. Like, there's no need to be extra and to do extra and to do more. Like, it is so not necessary. Like, you so don't have to do that. But you can if you choose. Like, there's always choice. But I mean, maybe it's just the me and me where I'm like, if I ain't gotta fight, like, I'm not fighting. Especially like if the angels come through and they're like, hey, you can leave this alone now. I'm like, okay. Because another thing about the angels is like they fight a lot of our battles on our behalf, right? And so it's almost like they took a break long enough for us to realize what they were doing, fighting on our behalf. It's almost like they just like they needed us to see a little bit of like what was happening behind the scenes. But the insight that we got isn't so that we necessarily take up the mantle ourselves. It's like, no, you can still leave the work to us. Trust us. We're still working on the back end, but we just wanted to show you what we're doing back here. Because through you knowing what's happening on the back end, you're going to know how to proceed on the front. Um, and that's it. Corn cob. Oh, I'm going to get hungry. But yeah, it's been like 3 hours, 25 minutes, and 54 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and peace out. Hopefully get some sleep. 1:11 my time. Hey. Oh, now it's 1:12. Darn it. No problem, Miyoshi. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for stopping in at the end, Zelda. It's been a minute. It's good to see you. I'm gonna catch y'all's later because I'm like tired. I'm tired. My eyes are starting to burn. Are they red? No, they're not red yet. But I will catch y'all's later. I think I put everything in the box already. So I can just go to bed. I'm gonna just lay down on this bed and just go to sleep. All right, thanks again, y'all. It was fun, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.